cloud nine, but I doubt you ever been on my ride, baby. Said I know you've been on cloud nine, but I doubt you ever been up this high. Yeah, we gon' do it like the moon is high, one of those nights, and I can tell by the look in her eye. Baby got love, wanna give it up, and I'm the one that she be thinking of, and it's all over her face. Although she tryna hide, I can see it when she's in my space. We sort of vibe, call this cloud nine love, and we ain't coming down. Said I found my.
The Commission is about to commence. Umasingaba ready.
The Commission resumes. Mr. Semenya, I believe you have a witness to call, but before you do that, I'd just like to ask, who is here representing the victims today in Mr. Mpofu's place?
It's me, Mr. Chairman.
I see. Are you able to tell us what witnesses, if any, apart from Bishop Sioka, you propose calling, your side proposes calling? We need this information for the purpose of planning the ongoing work of the Commission.
May I revert before, just after the adjournment, Mr. Chairman?
Sorry?
May I revert back to this issue just after the tea adjournment?
Yes,
I'll take instructions.
Of course you may. I think we were told by Mr. Brainders when he was here yesterday that AMCU only proposes calling Mr. Mutunjwa at this stage. Is that correct?
Chairperson, my name is DeVos, D-E-V-O-S. Mr. Brainders has just quickly gone to get accreditation. He'll be back shortly. But at this stage, Mr. Mutunjwa is the only witness which AMCU intends to call.
Whom?
Apologies, Chair.
Whom?
Thank you.
Ubechaza apha kokuba iAMCU izawubiza ingqine elilodwa kwelityala. Umhlekazi lo kuthiwa nguMathunjwa uyena kuphela ozawubizwa egameni leAMCU.
I understood Ms. Lewis to say that the families only proposed making a presentation, but they are prepared to then to provide affidavits to support the material in the presentation, and they will be obviously able to give oral evidence if subpoenaed, if anyone wishes them to do so. Did I understand correctly?
That is correct, Mr. Chair. I appear with Ms. Lewis. The surname is Motlwenya, M-O-T-L-O-E-N-Y-A. Ms. Lewis is here. She's taking final instructions. Mr. Chair should be able to address you further on that issue.
Mr. Bezos, are you able to tell us at this stage what witnesses you propose calling?
Mr. Chairman, could we defer answering this question because we are having a meeting this afternoon and we are having a meeting for our large team in Johannesburg on Saturday and Sunday. The primary witnesses, those are the medical experts in relation. They cannot complete their reports in the absence of what we have repeatedly asked for, and that is the medical reports of the persons injured. They were promised by Mr. Mpofu and his attorney. They were promised to be given to the evidence givers, but this has not happened, and it's impeding the progress. They are important witnesses. They require this information in order to complete their reports, and the sooner this happens, the better, subject to their professional persons, their doctors. we have to make an arrangement in the near future. But we can't do it before that information is provided. We are going to appeal to our learned friends at this afternoon's meeting and put them on terms. Perhaps the Commission may express a view on the matter. Without that information, the reports cannot be completed.
You understand I'm concerned about the future work of the Commission. Every day that we sit, or even every day we don't sit, costs a large amount of money. And it's very important that we utilize as much of the time available as productively as we can. And so that's why I'm raising these questions in the open.
We are not
Commission.
unmindful of this.
Because I'm not criticising, I'm just explaining why I'm asking the question.
Mr. Chairman, there may be a couple other witnesses. We are discussing it with the evidence presenters. In relation to Mr. Marinovich, I don't think that there is a decision as to who is going to call him, whether we will call him or he has been consulting with the evidence givers. There is the possibility of one of our candidate attorneys giving evidence because he visited the scene and he will be able to depose to some vital alterations that were made from on the same day of his visit, and he, I think, pointed things out at the inspection in loco, and he will be called to confirm. But we are not ready. He is actually an article clerk, and he has certain duties to perform, not at the Legal Resources Center, but at a commercial firm, so that he becomes a proper attorney.
I assume he's actually a candidate attorney. I don't know that the article clerk is the appropriate expression anymore. But
I'm old-fashioned in that respect. Mr. Chairman, thank you. I'll remember that.
Thank you, Mr. Bizos. Mr. Tip, are you able to help us on what witnesses, if any, you propose calling?
Yes, with pleasure, Mr. Chair. We do propose to call some witnesses. There will be probably two main witnesses, and they will be directed towards providing the Commission with an essential background of the environment within which the demands came to be raised by the rock drill operators about whom you have heard. And they will deal also with the response by NIM to the demands and the developments of the strike action. We believe that will be of assistance to the Commission. There may be one or two additional witnesses dealing with particular aspects of the events. It's possible that they won't be necessary. Our preparation in respect of those witnesses is well advanced. We are waiting for certain supplementary material from London, which had arrived, it was recalled. I believe the Commission's probably aware of that. We expect it to be produced again shortly. And
not aware of that at all.
Oh.
I was interested, you don't have to tell me about it at this stage. I was interested to know, have you given copies of statements of what your proposed your witnesses will say to the evidence leaders? Mr. Bizos, who prefers old-fashioned terminology, calls them evidence givers, but I think evidence leaders is more appropriate. But never mind, let's not waste time on that. Have you given these statements to the evidence leaders yet?
Not as yet, Mr. Chair.
Hasn't the agreed date long since expired?
It has, but that agreed date was premised on all the information being available to all the parties. We're in much a position of other parties. So that we will provide those statements as soon as possible. We've given an indication to at least some of the evidence leaders of what it is that we propose to traverse.
Thank you, Mr. Tip. Mr. Berger, you've heard the questions I've addressed to your colleagues. Are you able to provide us with similar information in respect of your client?
Yes, Chair. We've already made a comprehensive statement and a witness available to the evidence leaders, and I think they've consulted him. We've undertaken to make 3 more comprehensive statements available by Monday. And obviously what follows thereafter will to some extent be influenced by the statements to be filed by Mr. Mpofu, for example, who's made some startling factual statements to witnesses. We'd love to see the statements coming for that, and then we may have to react to that. We would also like to see comprehensive statements from SAPS generals. That may... Well, I've seen a statement recently from General Annandale, but I haven't seen a comprehensive statement from the Provincial Commissioner, from the General in charge. I just haven't
Or the
seen,
National Commissioner?
Haven't seen that. Haven't seen from any of the top brass.
And I see the Minister is now represented. Is the Minister also going to give evidence? Are we going to get a statement from him, what he proposes to say?
You will know better than I. I'm in the dark on that, Chair. So we don't know what my learned friend Mr. Tips's client is going to. All that I'm saying is we may call more than 4 witnesses, but at this stage, Lonmin has certainly given its full cooperation to the evidence leaders.
Ms. Nkosi Thomas, are you able to help us? In regard to the question as to whether your client proposes giving evidence, and if so, whether the statement's been made available?
May it please you, Chairperson and members of the Commission. The Minister's participation in these proceedings relates to matters of policy and oversight. So in the fullness of time, we will have to take a decision whether or not to lead evidence, depending on whether the policies are controversial or not.
Lingxoxo bikhona ke apha neyimamele iphakathi kwamagqwetha nomhlali ngaphambili. Umhlali ngaphambili uthi simosha ixesha elide apha singahlalanga. Izindleko zale commission ziyangokonyuka. Ube babuza kokuba amangqina abo aseredi na ukuba ngabakhona njengoba beniva bebephendula. Umhlekazi uMpofu ubhizi ngo akekho apha ulungisa abakhe. Umama uMutlwenya omele ifamily naye uthi bazilungisile izincwadi abazokuziveza apha phambi kweCommission ekuzizingxelo zefamily. Kune meeting ezawubanjwa emva kwedina namhlanje apho Mr. Bizos athi bazobonisana kabanzi namanye amagqwetha nange reports azimele ezamagqirha azokwazi ukubabiza amangqina phezukwazo. Kwatsho ke umhlekazi uTip naye watsho kokuba khona izincwadi ezithize asazimele okokuba abazi ukuba aveze izimpendulo ezimaqondana nenum kuzawuthi ekuhambeni kwexesha aziveze na ezo zinto. Umhlekazi uBerger naye wathetha okokuba khona istatements eziningi asazimele unamangqina amathathu azakuwabiza mhlawumbe azawuba mane uya ngokuthi istatement ezizovela koTata uMpofu ziveza ntoni ngalamangqina akhe azokwazi ukuba anikeze izimpendulo koko. uNkosikazi Nkosi Thomas omele uminister uthi yena bazawuboneka mbeni kwexesha kokuba khona amangqina bazokuwabiza na.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Nkosi Thomas. Mr. Semenya, why were these statements by the police generals not made available yet? Why haven't they been made available? I can understand some of the parties require information from other people first before they complete their statements, but surely that can't apply to the police generals?
No, they haven't. It doesn't apply to the generals.
Why haven't the statements been made available yet?
We have...
Was there not an undertaking that statements would be made available by a certain date?
There was an undertaking.
Has that not been honoured?
We have not been able to give the entire statements to the evidence leaders. We have given that of General Annandale and have undertaken to give the remainder of those statements by Monday.
Thank you, Mr. Menjo. Are you able to give us an indication at this stage as to which witnesses you propose calling?
That is General Annandale, that is General Naidu, that is General Mbombo, that is General Mpembe, and that is General Brigadier Khaleds, the initial 5.
What, Brigadier Fritz?
And Scott and Fritz as well.
Thank you.
Bonke aba babize ngamagama phaye o-provincial commissioner national commissioner nezi general azibizile zonke azawuba mahlanu amangqina azokuwabiza apha.
Is Mr. Gumbi here this morning?
Yes, I'm here, Chairperson.
Are you able to tell us whether you propose calling any witnesses, and if so, who they are, and whether statements have been or are going to be provided? And by when?
Yes, Chairperson. On behalf of POP Crew, we are proposing to call Lieutenant Baloy, and we've been in contact with him, and we are finalizing his statement. But the problem is he will only be available after the 1st of December. He's still on sick leave. By then, he will be available.
Lekazogumbi uyachaza naye njengoba emele inhlangano yamapolisa iPop Crew ukuba bazawubiza uLieutenant General Baloy akekho kwangoku seselivini or akaphilanga kahle uzawubakho emveni kuka December.
And Chairperson, he will only testify about the incident that occurred on the 13th of August 2012.
Thank you very much. Mr. Ramapeli, is he here this morning?
Lesahlakalo sokamhla 13 August.
Well, Chair, Mr. Rampilo doesn't appear to be present this morning. Advocate Masebe, I appear on behalf of the family of Munene. And Chairperson, we don't propose to call any witnesses. I believe that Lieutenant Baloy will be sufficient to cover our issues as well. So that is the position for the Munene family.
Thank you very much. Are any of the other representatives of parties who are represented before the Commission able to tell us whether they propose calling witnesses, and if so, who, and if statements have been provided, and if not, by when they will be provided?
Chairperson, this is Matebula representing DMR. We're not intending to call any witness in this theme.
Matebula omele iDepartment of Mineral Resources uthi ke abanawubiza amanqina bona bamele abezimbiwa. Umasebe uthi yena kuzawubiza elinqina libizwe uBaloy kuzaba linqina labo umele ifamily yena yakwaMunene.
Understand that the War Department is not really involved in this phase of the inquiry. Are there any other representatives who wish to give us information in respect to the matters that I've raised?
Chair, Toby Fisher, on behalf of the South African Human Rights Commission. Ms. Hardy is unable to be here today, so I'm taking her place. The South African Human Rights Commission does intend to give evidence at the end of phase 1, but the precise scope of that evidence depends to some extent on what comes out from the other witnesses' evidence.
Ufisha omele human rights uthi ke abanawubiza amanqina kwangoku bona.
So we'll take a quick adjournment and resume in a moment when it's possible for us to do so.
Sake siphume kancinci sibuye emva. Kunesicelo esikhona apha kuthiwa kucela ukuba sonke siphumele phandle kwinto ethize yenzakele bafuna nje ukuhlola lonto rizele kamonhle kawufela.
How did they compute it? How did they compute it? How did they but it was here already. Excuse me, guys. Can you? All of us. We need a refilling.
We don't have other people on the floor outside.
Masukumeni sonke commission yangena.
Is this ET? Yeah.
This is ET, yeah.
Okay. So
You just look
You
at
look
us.
at Ken.
You look at me. Okay.
I've been doing this for a while. I'm surprised I still don't get it right.
Can you just tell us what happened?
Now, there was a significant security breach that happened earlier on, and we can't leave anything to chance. So the best option was really to actually remove the participants from the commission and get the auditorium, get a security sweep of the auditorium, which is currently so. And due to the nature of what the commission is doing, and the facts surrounding it, and the tragedy involved, we are very wary of such things at all times. We're very vigilant, so we don't leave anything to chance. So it's better safe than sorry. So that's basically what's happening here.
Is there any truth to report that someone walked into the commission with a firearm?
Yes, there was a security breach. Of course, I can't mention the exact nature of the breach, but I can confirm that there was a security breach. And that is exactly why we are in this situation, and we actually are ensuring that it's dealt with accordingly.
You're not going to give us any details of what exactly that breach was?
No, because that defeats the whole purpose of proper investigation, investigations, and the issues of a security nature are best, you're better off actually verifying and confirming the facts before going out to the media. And that's exactly what we're going to do.
Is anyone in custody at this point?
Not as yet.
And are you able to tell us how you became aware of the security breach?
Now, as you know, we have a scanner, which basically is used for, and there is technology that is able to detect on video and on screens what is going through. So that is how at this stage, that is how I can say the security threat was detected, and of course, hence the security sweep actually dislocates that particular threat.
And are you questioning the individual at the moment who was
Yes, law enforcement agencies are actually currently busy with that.
And what's going to happen now? Do you have any sense?
Well, I mean, what's going to happen is that we're going to tighten our measures, and we are very adamant that, for example, no witness, whether they are police or from any other entity, are allowed with a firearm into to the auditorium. It's just, it's one of the rules of the commission. And we're going to go with it going ahead. That's so that we don't have situations like this.
Is this person a police officer?
I can't confirm or deny that.
And there's just one person that's involved?
Yes, correct.
You are confirming that someone walked in with a fire?
So I'm saying that is the nature of the breach. Obviously, we wouldn't, be sweeping the place if someone walked in with a toothpick. But, obviously that is the issue that is happening.
And the sweep is just police walking through the roads and checking what's there?
Yes, and the dog unit may perhaps be some dogs working against, but we're actually, it's almost done as we speak, so I think we're on safe ground.
Yes, thank you. Now.
That the size of the assignment would ordinarily take the capacity of the forensic division in this country 3 years to complete. We are trying desperately to facilitate that as best we can. We hope to be able to do that with expedition without any delay. But that's just the nature of the capacity we have and the amount of material that has to be assessed.
Presumably that the nature of the task and the extent of the task was already known when the promise was made that the reports would be available at the end of October.
We
have never made the undertaking. It may be IPAD who made the undertaking that material will be available that time, Chair.
Uthi kwenza isithembiso kokuba ezincwadi zivela kumapolisa zizawuba khona apha ekupheleni ka-October siphakathi ka-November ngoku zizawuza nini ezincwadi. Uthi xa iphendula umhlekazi uSiminya ngumsebenzi onzulu kakhulu lokufanele wenziwe ngaba basebalistic ongahle uthathe ixesha elide ibabambe bonke lento kokuba bagqibe lo msebenzi ube sho kanjalo ke kuba ubunzima abanabo ngobo.
Mr. Semenya, thank you very much for your undertaking that we'll get this material as soon as possible. And we appreciate that it is a big task. And now that you've given us the assurance it's being dealt with with as much expedition as possible, we look forward eagerly to seeing that material as soon as it becomes available.
Chair, I must on record say there must be an appreciation that this is an IPIT investigation. It's not a police investigation. It's not in our hands. By law, the material is being investigated against police conduct. So it is IPIT which is doing it. We are trying our best to make sure that it can be done with expedition.
I don't want to be involved in a debate with you on that. I understand what you say. You've given us an assurance that we'll get it as soon as possible. But I take it the ballistic department, which is doing the investigation, doesn't form part of IPIT.
Doing the investigation. Let me just
you see,
respect
the ballistic department falls under the Department of Police, is that right?
No doubt, Chair.
Right. So the IPIT excuse with respect doesn't work. But let's not have a fight about it now. You've very fairly and candidly put the facts before us. You've given us an assurance which we accept, and I think we can now proceed with the evidence of the Brigadier.
Thank you, Chair.
Emva kokuba umhlekazi uSiminya enze isethembiso sokuba izawuvezwa le mibhalo kungakachithi ixesha elide.
Brigadier, would you please stand? Are you prepared to swear that the evidence you'll give is true, or do you wish to make an affirmation?
I'll swear.
Would you raise your right hand and you say you swear the evidence you will give in this matter before this commission will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Please say, I swear, so help me God.
I swear, so help me God.
Thank you. You may be seated.
Uthatha isifungo apha Brigadier okokuba yonke into azakuyiveza apha izawuba inyaniso.
Ms. Pillay, we've got a document before us headed South African Police Service Basic and Specialized Training Overview. It's obviously going to be handed in as exhibits. What's the next exhibit letter? P.
Thank you, Chair.
We only appear to have received 2 copies. One of the members of the Commission is being discriminated against. Could we please have one? No, he's got one. He's got one. No, he's got one. You've got one. Yeah. You bring us on one. Thank you. Yes, please proceed, Mr. Smith.
Thank you, Chair. Brigadier, can you...
Chair, if I could just correct, sorry, just 1 second, Chair. I've just noticed that the Henderson video is P, Exhibit P, so this would be Exhibit Q.
Yes, we must always mind our P's and Q's when we give letters to exhibits. All right, Exhibit Q, Mr. Semenya.
Thank you, Chair. You are a brigadier in the South African Police Service, aren't you, sir?
Yes, I am.
Brigadier lo kumapolisa ase SAPS.
Can you just, in summary, tell us your career path in the South African Police Service?
Thank you. I joined the South African Police Service in 1985. After completion of basic police training, I was transferred to the protection services, VIP protection, where I spent most of my time until 2010. I worked in various operational areas in that division, and in 2010 was transferred to the training department.
Okay, let's give the interpreter an opportunity to interpret as
Uthi
well.
wangena kumapolisa ngo-1985 esebenza wade wafika u-2010 apho azawuthunyelwa khona ku-VIP protection. Emva koko wasebenza ke wathi ngo-2010 wathunyelwa kwi-training apho kufundiswa khona amapolisa.
In 2010, I was transferred to division training, where I had the tactical police development coordination.
Apho ke wathunyelwa khona ephethe eyinhloko yamapolisa lawo kuthiwa yi-tactical.
In that capacity, have you been part of a preparation of this presentation?
Yes, I was part of a team that prepared this presentation with focusing on the different operational units.
Ungomnyeke walaba balungise lo mqulu esiwuphethe apha obonisa okokuba bafundiswa ntoni i-divisions ezehlukile.
And can we deal with the document which is now marked Exhibit Q?
Yes, thank you. Chair, we can start with slide 1 and immediately go to slide 2. The vision of the South African Police Service Human Resource Development is to ensure quality education, training and development in support of creating a safe and secure environment for all people in the Republic of South Africa.
Injongo ke yokufundiswa kwamapolisa phaya nokuqeqeshwa kwawo nokuthi azaqhubekele phambili kuwenziwa ngenjongo yokokuba kubekho ukhuseleko kuwo onke umuntu ongumhlali wakuleli zwe lase South Africa.
The mission of the South African Police Service Human Resource Development is to invest in human capital through innovative and quality education, training and development of all employees of the South African Police Service, prompting lifelong learning in support of effective service delivery.
Njengoba nditshilo ke injongo yabo kokokuba kwenziwe ngolukhulu ukunaka ukufundiswa qeqeshwa kuthuthukiswa kwezisebenzi zase South African Police ukuze kuthi kwisixesha labo lomsebenzi bafundiswe kokuba bakwazi ukusebenzela umphakathi ngokufanele.
The illustration will explain to us how the intensity and skills levels of different units escalate from basic training right through to the Special Task Force. The training intensity and skills levels escalates as the threat level to which police officers operate in increase. The intensity and the skill level of basic police training is lower than the operational skills, is lower than that of the NIU members or the Special Task Force whose skill sets is much higher and the training is more intense. All these members will have a basic police training and then the tactical training is focusing on specific areas of operation.
Nguthi ke apha amapolisa lawa kuya ngokuthi akweliphi ihlaka ukufundisa kwawo kuya ngokwenyuka njalo xa usuka kumapolisa lawo e-public order policing uzuyobetha phezulu kulawa we-STF kuya njalo ukufundiswa kuye ngokunzulu.
I know we deal with each unit later, but for the record, can you tell us what POP is, what K9 is, TRT, NIU, and STF as they appear on that slide?
Uza kusixelela kuba ahluke kanjani lamapolisa ngobani abizwa ngokuthi ntoni.
Mr. Chair, POP, or BASIC, stands for Basic Police Trainees. That's the entry program of the police, and we will focus on it later. POP stands for Public Order Police. K9 refers to the dark units. TRT refers to Tactical Response Teams. NIU refers to National Intervention Unit. And STF refers to Special Task Force.
Uchaza kanjalo kokuba njengoba ibhaliwe nje lencwadi phaya ku-basic kumapolisa lawa sangena emsebenzini bese kuthi POP kube ngayo kuthiwa public order policing, i-K9 ilaba ke abahola izinja, i-TRT ngaba ababizwa xa izinto zonakela banxiba iberet, i-NIU bese kuthiwa i-National Intervention Unit, STF Special Task Force.
And these units are specialized units in their own right with various type of disciplines, aren't they?
That is correct. Though basic would be the lowest here, it means they are the best in their area. POP is lower than K9, but they are the best in their area. It is focusing on the tactical skills levels that is escalating.
Lama polisa ke onke njengoba njena anemsebenzi ethize anikwe wona ababenza oku kodwa bonke baqale bengamapolisa nje baya ngokukhuphuka ke kanjalo.
And when we go to slide number 5.
Slide number 5 indicates that training is presented for specific training is presented for specific units, and this diagram explains the functions and the overlapping of responsibilities.
Apha ke ku slide 5 kukhombisa okuba lamapolisa asebenza ntoni abizwa xa kwenzeke ntoni njengoba sitsho nje eminye imisebenzi inokuthi ingenelane neminye kodwa ke kukho abakhethele imisebenzi ethize njengoba ichazwa apha.
On the far left-hand side of the slide is the public order police. They responsible predominantly for crowd management, restoring of public unrest, restoring of serious public violence.
Apha ke ku POP kuyachazwa kokuba lamapolisa abizwa okokuba azokwazi ukulawula xa kukho abantu abaninzi endaweni eyodwa, babizwa xa kukhona izixholoxholo kube ngabo abazogqibeza izixholoxholo babuyisele nozinzo.
They can be supported by the TRT and the NIU, which is represented by the blue and the red blocks in that yellow column on the left-hand side.
Xa benza lo msebenzi ke bancediswa ngaba be-TRT nabe-NIU njengoba kukhombisa nje apha kwibloko ebomvu nalena elihlaza engaphansi.
Medium risk operations is where the TRT predominantly operates, and their functions include rapid response operations, arrest warrants with a medium threat, search warrants with medium difficulty.
Apha ke amapolisa lawe TRT umsebenzi wawo abizwa okokuba makafike ngokusheshsha xa konakele aphethe izwarrants zokuba kuboshwe abo bantu abasusa izixholoxholo apho aseche nabantu nakusimo eso bakusona.
The NIU and TRT have overlapping responsibilities and skill sets to attend to this medium risk operations, which is predominantly done by TRT.
Aba be-NIU umsebenzi wabo ucishe uhambelane nalomnye ngoba nabo banezinto ezenziwa ngaba be-TRT abazenzayo.
The third column is high-risk operations, which is predominantly dealt with by the National Intervention Unit.
Aba ke xa kukho izixholoxholo ezinkulu kakhulu kubizwa bona ababe-NIU.
This includes cash-in-transit robberies or open-air robberies, barricaded suspects, dangerous and arrest warrants, dangerous and difficult search warrants.
Basebenza ke xa kubanjwe inkunzi njenge-robberies ezenzekayo apha ezindleleni, robbery ezenzeka ngaphandle sikwazi ukuvimbela abo bantu bakokelwa ngokwenza lawo matyala babambe nezikrelemnqa ezibungozi kakhulu bathunyelwa kwizindawo apho izixholo-xholo ziphakeme ziyingozi kakhulu.
As you can see in column 3, the TRT, which is represented by blue, and the Special Task Force in green, have operational skill sets to operate in a high-risk environment.
Njengoba nibona phaya apha kwi-blue naphaya kubomvu khona i-NIU ne-TRT ngabo ababizwa ezindaweni ezinobungozi kakhulu.
On the far right-hand side, on the green column, is the specialized operations, which the Special Task Force is responsible for.
Aba be Special Task Force njengoba kumbala oluhlaza kukhombisa okokuba ngabo ababizwa xa kukho izidube-dube eziphezulu kakhulu ababenza umsebenzi oyisispecial.
These functions include international and national interest hostage release and counter-terrorism operations.
Aba ke basebenza xa kukho izinto eziyimbambano phakathi kwamazwe xa kukho izinto izehlakalo zokugrogisa eziphathelene namazwe apho kubanjwe khona ama-hostage evinjiwe kubizwa bona apho.
And then we deal at slide number 8 with the purpose of the basic police training.
Thank you, Chairperson. The purpose of basic police training is to enable newly appointed police officials to use a series of legal and policing skills to protect and serve members of communities in terms of the Constitution of South Africa, Act 108 of 1996.
Apha ke kuchaza okokuba injongo yokufundisa amapolisa intoni. Kuthi kusetshenziswa ke izindlela zonke zomthetho, imithetho ebekelwe amapolisa nokukhusela nokusebenzela umphakathi wase South Africa njengoba ubekiwe phansi komgaqo-siseko ka-1996.
And to provide a more effective service which will improve community satisfaction and put them in a position to fulfill their mission of creating a safe and secure environment for all who live in South Africa.
Nokubanika ke amandla aphelele okuba bakwazi ukuthi basebenzele umphakathi ebawukhuselayo ngaphansi kwa nayiphi imeko apha eSouth Africa.
And what are the exit level outcomes of a basic training?
On completion of the basic training, the learner will be able to balance the constitutional and legal rights of individuals with the competency to legally infringe those rights in the service of maintaining a safe and secure society.
Uthi ke xa selifundisiwe ipolisa liphuma phaya lifanele likwazi okokuba imithetho ebekiwe nengaphansi komgaqo-siseko nephathelene nomuntu apha likwazi ukusebenzisa ngendlela ebekiweyo.
They will be able to evaluate policing principles and their application in relation to crime prevention.
Bakwazi ukwenza umsebenzi wobupolisa ngendlela ebekiweyo nokuthi bakwazi ukuvikela izehlakalo eziphambene nomthetho.
Conduct a criminal investigation by gathering information and evidence.
Bakwazi okokuba baxoxe ubungqina obufunekayo xa umuntu eyowutyholwa phambi kwezinkundla.
Evaluate situational and situations and select tactical techniques and skills needed to perform policing duties and maintain the safety of the self and others.
Bakwazi okokuba bakwazi ukuyijonga imeko bakwazi ukubeka okokuba yiphi indlela eyawusetshenziswa phantsi kweemeko ezithize ukuze kube khona ukukhuseleka kubo ngokwabo nakubantu aba babasebenzelayo.
They will be able to support a criminal prosecution by presenting documents and giving evidence in a court of law.
Bazoba naloko ulwazi lokuba bakwazi ukuthola ubungqina obuzawunikezwa kubetshutshisi ukuba bakwazi ukuqhuba ngelo tyala enkundleni.
They will be able to apply the principles of operations and service delivery within a client service center in a policing environment.
Bakwazi ukuba basebenzise onke olulwazi abanalo ukuze kusebenzeke ukukhuseleka kwabantu phansi kweemeko ezithize.
And be able to maintain professional conduct to enhance the principles of service delivery to the community.
bakwazi ke nokuthi bazigcine bangabantu abahloniphekayo njengoba lo msebenzi wabo ufuna inkambiso enjalo.
And what happens with their basic police development?
Please repeat the question.
Can we speak to slide number 11?
11. The target group for basic police development is entry-level recruits and police trainees. The duration of the training program is 24 months, which is divided into 2 phases, the academy phase of 12 months and the workplace learning phase of 12 months.
Apha ke amapolisa lawa kujongwe abasangena phaya abangama-recruit ababasaqokelelwa bese kuba khona ii-constables. Fundiso lwabo ke lithatha izinyanga ezingu-24 phambi kokuba agqibe. Okokuqala wenza i-12 yezinyanga apho asafundiswa khona ngezincwadi nokunye bese kuthi 12 months afundiswe phaya esemsebenzini.
And the areas of learning?
The learning areas of the basic training learning program can be explained at the hand of the following illustration. Learning Area 1, orientation to the South African Police Service. Learning Area 2, law. Learning Area 3, community service center. Area 4, crime prevention. Learning Area 5, crime investigation. 4 is crime investigation, 5 is crime prevention. And learning Area 6 is street survival.
Izifundiso ke ebazinikezwayo yilezi. Okokuqala nje unikezwa ukuba intoni lo msebenzi wopolisa kufanele wenza aqonde wona. Kwesibili afundiswe imithetho ekhona. Okwesithathu afundiswe okokuba usebenza kanjani phaya kumphakathi. Okwesine ukufokisa amatyala. Okwesihlanu ukuvikela izenzo zolwaphula umthetho. Okwesithupha ke ukuthi uzawuphila kanjani yena apha emsebenzini ezitradweni.
And the purpose of such learning?
The purpose of Learning Area 1 is to orientate the learner on how to conduct himself or herself in a professional manner in a policing environment and to introduce the SAPS culture to the learner.
Okokuqala lo mfundi ke ipolisa lisafunda lifundiswa ukuthi lona liziphathe kanjani ngendlela efanele apha epoliseni. Lifundiswe nemeko elizazifumana liphansi kwayo. Lifundiswe nenkambiso namasiko aphaya emthethweni.
Learning Area further focus on the orientation to the South African Police Service. Trainees are trained in professional conduct, including discipline, command and control, and teamwork.
Bafundiswa ke izinto ezilandelayo phaya kokuba baziphathe kanjani ke njengamapolisa, ukuziphatha kakuhle, ukubulalela imithetho ebekiwe, ukulawulwa nokusebenza ngokubambisana nabanye.
Employee health and wellness is also addressed to enable the trainees to cope with the stressful situations they are to be confronted with as they perform their duties.
Aba ke amapolisa bayanikezwa eziphathelene nezempilo ngokuba izimo abasebenza kuzo kwesinye isikhathi ziyezixake badinge olosizo.
EHW has a module that particularly deals with self-management and anger management. Human rights forms a golden thread in the basic police program and is presented in all the learning areas.
Apha ke EHW employee health wellness iye inikezwe kubo ukuze bakwazi ukuzilawula bona ngokwabo, bakwazi nokuzilawula okokuba banga basebenze ngentukuthelo.
Learning Area 2 of the basic police learning program is law and focus on equipping the trainee with aspects of law, particularly criminal law. The Criminal Procedure Act is presented in this learning area.
Apha ke kwesibini baye bafundise umthetho abaza kusebenzisa. Kakhulu kujongwa umthetho i-Criminal Procedure Act ke la 1977 esebenzisa emakhotho ukunikezwa ngobungqina.
Issues relating to effect and arrest are dealt with in all learning areas.
Izinto ke ezifanana ke nokuboshwa kwabantu nokuba baboshwa ngoluphi uhlobo kuye kufundiswe apha.
The use of force and how to effect an arrest in terms of section 49(2) of the Criminal Procedure Act are dealt with extensively.
Usebenziswa ke lezigala xa kukho isidingo sokuba zisetshenziswe njengokuba kuchazwe ngumthetho phaya usection 49(2) kuye kufundiswe kakhulu.
Learning Area 6 deals with street survival and it focuses on the following aspects. The use of force is also addressed when firearms and tactical training are presented to the trainees.
Apha ke kuye kufundiswe nokuphathwa kwezixhobo ezabanikezwa sona okokuba zisetshenziswa kanjani phansi kwemeko ezinjani.
Exercising alertness during police tasks and to ensure the safety of police officers and the public through preventative actions.
Okokuba ipolisa liyafundiswa okokuba lihlale lijongile sonke isikhathi ukuze likhuseleke lona ngokwalo nabanye oxabalo amapolisa abanye abasebenza nabo.
Exercising initiative and tactical preparation during police tasks, understanding techniques of tactical communication.
Ukuze ke akwazi ukuthi xa kukhona imeko ethize akwazi ukuba acinge ngendlela efanele enze izinto ngendlela ebekiwe ngaphansi komthetho ovumayo.
Use of personal equipment safely to ensure safe and lawful performance of police tasks. Make use of force tactical decisions that meet legal and organizational requirements.
Apha ke kusetshenzisweni kwezinto anikezwe zona izixhobo zomsebenzi ngaphansi kwemithetho ebekiwe kuloyo ndima akuyo nokuthi ke xa kusetshenziswa izigana kuthathwe inqumo ezifanele ngaphansi kwemithetho njengoba kufanele.
And applying the principles of the use of force to ensure safe and lawful performance of police tasks.
Bayafundiswa ke apha okokuba ukuthi kusetshenziswe izigala kufanele kube isidingo esithize setshenziswe ezo zigala ngaphansi kwemithetho ebekiwe.
Slide 17 continues. Firearm training is presented throughout the training in terms of the Firearms Control Act, Act 60 of 2000. And all trainees are trained in the safe handling and practical shooting of the following firearms: the 9mm pistol, the R5 rifle, and the shotgun.
Ayafundiswa ke amapolisa ngezixhobo ezebanikezwa zona njengemipu phansi komthetho unumber 60 ka owenziwe ngo-2000. Bonke ke abafundi phaya bayafundiswa okokuba ziphathwa kanjani ezi zixhobo, bafundiswa nokuba zisetshenziswa kanjani izixhobo abatrainwa kuzo zi-9mm ipistol, impu ye-R5 neze kuthiwa zi-shotgun.
The general aspects applicable to all firearms are dealt with in the training as well as the fundamentals of shooting.
Phaya ke kwi-training
I think the person who has that cell phone should please turn it off.
Awu bese nicela nje bakwethu uba xa uphethe i-cellphone uzoyivale nanku lo muntu ungesephume ebaleka phaya khanizivale toch. Ha re tshwere di-cellphone kupo ya motho a setolo gore le dikwale le ska phazama le ntse le matha jaaka motho ole. Uthi ke apha bafundiswa ukusebenzisa ezixhobo ezilandelayo njengoba esetshilo njena yonke into ephathelene nezo zixhobo ezinjengemipu.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The trainees are exposed to tactical and street survival techniques, tactical aspects with regard to tactical awareness, the carrying of firearms in certain situations and conditions of firearms when attending to complaints.
Baye bafundiswe ke okokuba noma esebenza eyedwa kufanele abe sokhuseleno olunjani xa ephethe imipu lena ayiphethe ayisebenzise kanjani xa ebiziwe okokuba ayohlola mhlawumbe ayofokisa isenzo esithize.
In Learning Area 6, slide 18, in Learning Area 6, crowd management is presented theoretically in the program. That is the basic police training. The crowd management presented at this level is for the first responders in crowd management before specialized trained members arrive.
Apha ke afundiswa lamapolisa okokuba akwazi ukulawula iziqholoqholo xa abantu babaninzi ngeli xesha basamele aba abazawubizwa okokuba bazolawula ezo ziqholoqholo.
The relevant legislation and aspects of crowd management is explained, how to report crowd forming and actions by the first members in the crowd that is developing.
Bayafundiswa okokuba xa ufika phaya ukwazi ukwenza ingxelo nemibiko yokuthi abo bantu baya ngokwanda kanjani nakanjani bazokwazi ukuba aba abaphethe benze amalungiselelo afanele.
The first police, it's explained to police officers the responsibilities of members that arrive first at the scene of a spontaneous gathering, and explain crowd dynamics, and we also explain to them the use of force in crowd management operations.
Bayafundiswa okokuba xa befika phaya kukho izixholo-xholo bakwazi ukujonga kakuhle bakhiphe imibiko efanele bade bakwazi ukuba abalawula izixholo-xholo xa beza apho bazilungisele ntoni nantoni na.
Slide 19, continue. In crowd management, the trainees are also trained to understand the relevant legislation.
Apha ke ekulawuleni kwezixholo-xholo bayafundiswa okokuba bakwazi ukusebenzisa imithetho ebekiwe apho.
The regulations of the Gatherings Act, Act 205 of 1993, together with Standing Order General 262 are discussed with the trainees.
Apha ke baye bafundiswe umthetho lo olawula izixholo-xholo ngaphansi komthetho wenziwe ngo-1993. Baphinde bafundiswe ke ne-standing orders amapolisa njengoba zibhaliwe lapha G262 ziyafundiswa apho beqeqeshwa khona.
Reference is also made to sections 10, 11, 12, 16, 17, 18 and 36 of the Constitution, which refers to the right to human dignity, section 10, the right to life, section 11, the right to freedom of expression, section 12 and 16, the right to assemble, demonstrate, picket and handing over of petitions, section 17, the right to association, section 18, and limitation of the rights, section 36.
Apha ke baye bafundiswe ezi zigaba ezilandelayo ngaphansi komgaqo umgaqo siseko i-Constitution yase-Republic. Bafundiswa phaya section 10, 11, 12, 16, 17 no-18 kanye no-36 ezichaza ke okokuba umuntu kufanele anikezwe isidima asifanele, unelungelo lokuphila, lungelo lokuba athethe, lilungelo lokuba akwazi ukuhlangana nabanye, ilungelo lokudemonstrata nezinye ke izinto ezifathelene ne-petitions eziyonikezwa, nokuthi ke lawa malungelo abekwa njani phansi komthetho owavimbelayo xa konakele usection 36.
Slide 20, practical shooting. Trainees are subjected to firearm training during the first 12 months, and during the workplace learning phase, physical fitness and shooting practices on all firearms are undertaken by the students. If levels decline in the second 12 months, trainees are given remedial training on specific problem areas through coaching.
Kuye kuthi ke apha ekufundisweni xa kuyawufundiswa ukusebenziswa kwemipu bafundiswa sebasemsebenzini bakujonga nokuba ngabantu abaphile kanjani emzimbeni nokokuba bawubamba kanjani umpu badubula kanjani kuthi ke xa kusiya futhi baphinde babuyiselwe phaya bayewufunda kabanzi ngezi zinto.
Shall we now talk about public order police training?
Slide 22. The right to the existence of the public order police The right to the existence of the public order police units is founded in the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa, Act 108 of 1996.
Apha ke ukuze kube khona amapolisa lawo ekuthiwa ngama-public order policing kuya ngokubeka komgaqo siseko wase-Republic yase-South Africa ka-1996.
And in terms of Section 17.1 of the South African Police Service Act of 1995, Act 68 of 1995, the National Commissioner will, subject to Section 218(1)K of the Constitution, establish and maintain a national public order capacity.
Apha ke kuthiwa phansi kwesisekelo Section 17 womthetho wamapolisa owenziwa ngo-1995, lo ngumthetho number 68 ka-1995, uNational Commissioner wamapolisa uza kuba negunya phansi kusekelo 218(1) se-Constitution okuba avule amapolisa anjengalawa we-public order.
The mandate of public order police is to provide security and stabilize solutions for crowd management and crowd unrest situations where classic policing strategies are not equipped to deal with the situation.
Msebenzi ke wala amapolisa ekuthiwa i-public order policing kukuzisa ukhuselo nokuthi bakwazi ukulawula xa kukho izixuku zabantu ezininzi apho kukhona isimo esingalawuleki esithi amapolisa akulowo ndawo sukohlule.
Slide 24. The public order police is mandated to be responsible for maintaining public order through performing crowd management, combating public violence, stabilizing of serious and violent crime incidents, giving specialized operational support, and to render specialized assistance to divisions, for example, to detectives, border police, and VIP protection.
Umsebenzi wawo ke lamapolisa ekuthiwa ngama-POP, public order policing, aye abizwe xa kukho indawo ethize enezixholoxholo. Bafike apho kube ngabo abakwazi ukulawula ezixholoxholo ezikhona. Bavimbe izenzo zogrogriso ezingabe khona lapho, balethe uzinzo kuloo ndawo, banikeze amapolisa amanye athunyelwe ngeminye imisebenzi uncedo ukuze loo ndawo amapolisa amanye afana namafokisi, lama-border police, naba be-VIP protection.
And the curriculum for the POP in crowd management?
The crowd management training curriculum for platoon members consists of the following 5 modules and is presented over 3 weeks.
Apha ke zizifundo ezinikezwa amapolisa ezinikezwa imodules ezinhlanu, izifundo ezinhlanu ezithatha iveki ezintathu.
Module 1, legal framework. Module 2, preparing for crowd management incidents. Module 3, crowd management equipment. Module 4, crowd management techniques. And Module 5, crowd management operations.
Ezi zifundo ke ziphathelene nokulandelayo. Okokuqala bafundiswa imithetho ephathelene nalowo msebenzi. Okwesibini bafundiswe ukulawulwa kwabantu abazizixhobo ezininzi, izixhobo ezifanele okokuba ziphathwe ngabo abalawulayo, izindlela ezibekiwe zokuba kulawulwe kanjani, nokuthi bakwazi ukuba nokuphatha nokulawula ukuzisa uxolo.
Module 1, the legal framework, contains the following: the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa, Act 108 of 1996, the South African Police Service Act, number 68 of 1995, the Regulations of Gatherings Act, number 205 of 1993, and Standing Order General 262.
Imithetho abafundiswa yona ke ilena. Okokuqala bafundiswa i-Constitution, umgaqo-siseko welizwe ka-1996, bafundiswa umthetho wesipolisa owenziwe ngo-1995, bafundiswe imithetho elawula izixhobo zabantu owenziwe ngo-1993, bafundiswe ne-standing orders amapolisa 262.
Module 2, preparing for crowd management incidents, consists of the following topics: crowd dynamics, conflict resolutions, scale of use of force, constitutional powers of the police, deadly force, tactical communication, equipment, and use of resources.
Apha ke kuye kufundiswe nokulandelayo okokuba bakwazi ukubona ubuninzi balabo bantu abahlangene apho, nokuthi bazisa kanjani uzinzo apho, nokuthi kungasetshenziswa izigala kangakanani, bafundiswe amandla abanikezwe ngaphansi komgaqo-siseko, nokuthi xa kudingeka ukuba basebenzise amandla agqithileyo anokuthi abangele ukufa kwabantu asetshenziswa kanjani, izindlela ezifanele nje zokuthethisana nabanye abantu, nezixhobo ezisetshenziswa ngaphansi kwemeko ezinjalo.
And what equipment is the subject of Module 3?
In Module 3 of the crowd management course, we focus on the equipment used by the public order police officer. They are the helmet, gas mask and filter, body armor, tongfa, shield, master shotgun and double ball rubber rounds, pepper spray, CS or tear gas, CS rifle grenades and 40mm CS rounds, stun grenades, other pyrotechnical aids like colored smoke grenades and flares, and the Brigadier 40mm grenade launcher.
Zezi ke izixhobo abafundiswa ukuzisebenzisa phaya baye banikezwe ezi zinto. Banikezwa ihelmet, kube khona imask le yegas abavala ngayo apha ebusweni nefilter. Banikezwe ezinye ekuthiwa ibody arm ezivimbela umzimba, itonfa le yayibizwa ngokuba ibethe necala, ebese kuba isiviko, bese kuba zi-shotgun ezidubula i-rubber bullets, kube zezinye ezidubula i-pepper spray, bese kuba khona ezi ze-tear gas, kuba khona le kuthiwa si-stun grenades, nezinye ke izinto ezivikela imusi nezinye izinto, bese bafundiswa ngokudutshulwa kwe-40 mm grenade.
Module 4 of the course focuses on crowd management techniques, and this include techniques on foot, platoon and section formations, indoor techniques, and vehicle formations, and the principles and the rules of intervention.
Apha baye bafundiswe ke nezindlela kusetshenzwa ngazo ii-techniques zakhona. Aba bahamba ngezinyawo, abakwi-platoons nezi-section, abasebenza phakathi kwezakhiwo ezithize, nokuba izinqwelo zimiswa ngoluphi uhlobo, nemidanti ethize ke ephathelene nokunye.
On the principles and rules of intervention, we find legality for actions, optimization of equipment, situational appropriateness, and proportionality of my actions.
Aba baye bafundiswe ke okokuba leyo ndlela abazawusebenza ngayo mayibe semthethweni ebekiwe, nokuthi isetshenziswe impahla izixhobo abanikeze zona ngokufanele zingamoshwa ngaphansi kwemeko abazifumana abaphansi kwazo, nokuthi xa beyifumene ikho into ingabi ngokuba khona abo kwabo ukuthi ide yande.
Further to Module 4, we also find practical shooting with shotguns and double rubber balls. That's slide 29. Tactical options are divided into defensive and offensive options. They are defensive options: blocking, isolating, channelizing, and escorting protesters and patrolling.
Apha ke baye bafundiswe ukuthi ziphathwa zilawula kanjani izixuku zabantu xa bebaningi. Ngoku bafundiswa ukusebenziswa kwe-shotgun ezinembumbulu zerabha, bafundiswe ukuzivikela kubantu abaqhankqalazayo, nokuthi babohlukanisa kanjani phakathi, nokuthi babavulele kanjani ukuba bahlukane, nokuthi babaphelekezele.
The offensive options are searching, pushback, evacuate, encircle, and dispersing.
Izindlela ke eziye zisetshenziswe yilezi ukuba babanjwe baseshwe, basunduzele umva, bakhushwe kulowo ndawo abakuyo, noma bazungezwe, noma bahlukaniswe phakathi.
Module 5 of the course focuses on crowd management operations, the definitions and abbreviations of crowd management, the conventional signs related to crowd management, and briefing and debriefing.
Apha ke okwesihlanu kuye kufundiswe ukuba lawula kanjani izixuku ezithize zabantu. Kukho izindawo imibhalo ethize esetshenziswa abbreviations apho kubhalwa khona bafunde ukuba xa kumi apha into ethize ithetha ukuthini, i-sign ezisetshenziswayo apha ekulawuleni nokuthi ingxelo ne-reports zenziwa kanjani.
At the end of the course, formative and summative assessments are used to assess the understanding of the course content, application of the knowledge, and the behavioral change of the learner.
Uthi ke xa sekugqityiwe ngezi zifundo kube khona okokuba bohlula ababantu bajonge okokuba bafunde kangakanani apha, baziva kangakanani ezi zifundo banikezwe zona.
And those who do public order policing, would they have undergone basic training?
They would have undergone basic training and would come from the general policing in general before they joined the public order policing.
Ngokuba ipolisa lifike phaya kuma-public order policing, kufanele okokuba seligqithile phaya kuma-basics aba bancinci basangena.
Shall we now talk about the dog handlers, the K9?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Slide 32. The safety and security of all inhabitants of the country is the responsibility of the South African Police Service, and this includes the deterrence of crime, the investigation of all crimes, and participation in effect to establish the root cause of crime. Police dogs and the handlers are a huge aid in this regard.
Xa sesiza apha ke kulamapolisa abizwa ngokuba ngo-K9 ababahamba nezinja. Umsebenzi wabo
Mr. Berger wants to say something. Perhaps we finished interpreting what you're interpreting at the moment, and then Mr. Berger will say something.
Thanks, Chair. Apha ke uthi umsebenzi wabo aba babamba izinja. Ukhuseleko olufunekayo kubahlali bonke base-South Africa zisezandleni zamapolisa apha ama-SAPS. Oku ke kuphathelene nokuthi kuvinjelwe ukwenziwa kwezigameko ezophula umthetho, ukufokisa kwawo onke amatyala nokuthi kwenziwe kujongwe okokuba yintoni eyaba imbangela yalo nto ibikhona. Aba ke babamba izinja badlala indima enkulu apha.
Chair, I'm loath to interrupt, but from slide 31 to 46, we told in great detail of how dog trainers are trained in the SAPS. I'm not sure it's going to assist us in this commission.
Mr. Semenya, it does sound as if that material we could take as read, and if it's relevant, you could perhaps stress it at some later stage.
As long as it is considered to have been read, Chair, we wouldn't insist in having it done.
I think you can consider it as read.
Umthekazi uBerger uthi kusuka apha nje kude kuyobetha phaya kusicela ubafundiswa kanjani amapolisa ukubamba izinja zawo ngendlela ethiza akuncedile commission ngayo nayiphi indlela. Uthi umthekazi uSiminya ubethanda okokuba ifunde lento.
Shall we then proceed to slide 49, dealing with the tactical response teams?
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Sizawugqitha apho ke siye phambili ku49.
The Tactical Response Unit was established in October 2009 on the instruction of the National Commissioner. The purpose of the unit is to increase tactical capability at cluster level and to support clusters in dealing with medium-risk operations.
Apha ke amapolisa lawa eTRT aba babizwa ngokuba ngamapolisa amaBeretta avela ngonyaka ngo-2009 bevezwa ukomishina wayekhona ngelo xesha. Umsebenzi wabo ke okokuba bakwazi ukubizwa msinya xa kukho izidubedube ezithize bakwazi ukuthi bakwazi ukuzilawula ngelo xesha ngoko nangoko.
On slide 51, we explained that each TRT member is issued with a list of the following equipment.
Aba be-TRT ke banikeza ezi zinto kokuba babe nazo zixhobo zomsebenzi.
Ballistic helmet, tactical goggles, tactical vest, tactical belt, utility leg rig, leg holster, knee and elbow pads, blue police beret, and a tactical gloves, equipment bag, bullet-resistant vest, 9mm pistol, R5 assault rifle, stun grenades, smoke grenades, and a jumpsuit.
Aba ke amapolisa eTRT anikeza izixhobo ezilandelayo zomsebenzi. Banikeza i-helmet ze-ballistics ezingangena imbumbulu, banikezwe i-vest ezingangena imbumbulu, banikezwe amabhande angangena imbumbulu ezizinto ezivala apha emadolweni nasemlenzeni. Ipolisa iberete zamapolisa eziblue ngombala, banikezwe iglove baza kuzinxiba xa beye emsebenzini, ingxowa zokufaka ezi zinto zabo, ivest ezingangena imbumbulu, banikezwe ipistol ye-9mm, banikezwe umpu we-R5 assault rifle, stand grenade, ne-small grenade, ne-jumpsuit, isuit le ebayinxiba ngaphezulu.
Slide 52. The mandate of the tactical response teams is to provide a tactical solution to medium threat situations where generic policing strategies are not equipped to deal with the situation.
Lawa mapolisa eTRT ke abizwa xa kukho imeko ethize eyoyisa amapolisa aqhelekileyo akulowo ndawo.
The TRT renders a tactical support function to cluster-based, medium-threat, intelligence-driven operations and a quick reaction capability to serious and violent crimes to contain the situation until the NIU or Special Task Force tactical units arrive.
Kuye kubizwe ke aba be-TRT xa kukho into ethize, imeko ethize yabakhona kulowo ndawo bafike msinya ukuze bakwazi ukulawula isimo kude kufike aba be-National Intervention Unit noma be-Special Task Force.
Or they react if necessary if a tactical solution cannot be delayed.
Kuthi ke xa bekhona okokuba bakwazi ukusimela eso simo kube ngabo abasimelayo.
The TRT are mandated to combat crime by focusing on providing an immediate tactical response capability within an identified cluster area and addressing crime through well-planned, intelligence-driven operational or specific request within an identified cluster area.
Babekwa ezindaweni ke apho bazokwazi ukuthi bafike msinya apho bedingeka khona kuleyo ndawo, bakwazi okokuba bajongane nesimo esikhona apho ngendlela eplanwe kakuhle ngabo kusetshenziswa izindlela ezithize ze-intelligence noma mhlawumbe eziphansi kwemeko yaloo ndawo.
Slide 55, we continue with the mandated functions of the TRT, that is to combat public violence by rendering support to major events, restoring public order, supporting the public order police, in combating crime, crowd management.
Umsebenzi yabo ke evamisile okokuba bazise uncedo kwizehlakalo ezinkulu babuyisele isimo esiqhelweni bakwazi okokuba babe luncedo kumapolisa lawa biza ngoba i-public order police.
Sorry to interrupt you, Brigadier. I notice this slide is headed Draft National Instruction. So is what you've just told us merely part of a draft, or is it actually part of the instructions I suppose the relevant question is, was it part of the instructions during August of this year, or was it merely just a draft that was in circulation?
Chairperson, it is because the national instruction is still circulated for inputs and then for approval later. And currently they're working from that draft national instruction.
Le draft national legislation athetha ngayo ke ngumthetho osalungiswa okwangoku usengekayiswa ukuba upasiswe kodwa sebesebenza phansi kwezinto ezibhaliwe ngaphansi kwalo mthetho.
On slide 56 we continue with the mandated functions, which includes escorting of dangerous criminals, escorting valuable and or dangerous cargo, providing tactical assistance to other units within the cluster area and rendering support during disaster and incident management.
Eminye ke yemisebenzi yayo okokuba kube ngabo abahambisa izikrelemnqa ezinobungozi kakhulu nokuphelezela impahla ebalekile neyingozi nokuthi ke banikeze uncedo kwamanye amapolisa icluster ezithize kwindawo ezithize bakwazi okokuba babe ngabantu abanokunceda xa kuvele kukhona indawo zentlekele.
Slide 57, the recruitment and selection of TRT members is done as follows, and a pre-selection profile is applied. Applicants must have a minimum of 2 years police service or functional experience after completing basic training. Applicants must be medically fit and willing to undergo an extensive medical evaluation, and only functional members appointed in terms of Section 5 of the South African Police Service Act with the rank of constable, sergeant, warrant officer or lieutenant and captain can apply.
Apha ke bakhethwa kanjani ababantu ukuba bangene kulamapolisa eTRT wenza isicelo sokuba abe kulamapolisa kufanele kube lipolisa eselineminyaka emibili ligqibile ukutraina kuthi ke loyo ozimisele ukuba athathwe kube ngumuntu ophile kakuhle emzimbeni nasengqondweni ozazimisela futhi okokuba makatestwe kulezo zinto bese kuthi ke apha amapolisa kuphela angathathwa apha ngabantu abane-rank zo-constable, sergeant, warrant officer, lieutenant noma i-captain.
On slide 58 we continue with the pre-selection profile. Applicants must be willing to undergo a psychometric evaluation and fit the TRT competency profile. Applicants must be willing to undergo and be successful in fitness and shooting evaluations. Applicants must not have been found guilty of any criminal or departmental contravention. Applicants must not be declared unfit to possess a firearm or be subjected to a Section 102 investigation of the Arms and Ammunition Act.
Apha ke umuntu wenza isicelo sokungena kuwo lamapolisa futhi kufanele kube ngumuntu ozimisele okokuba ayohlolwa ngokuphila kwengqondo abe ngumuntu ophilile ozakwazi ukumela isimo esikhona phaya kumapolisa eTRT kube ngumuntu ozimisele okokuba afakwe okokuba ayoqeqeshwa ngokomzimba nokudubula nolwazi lokudubula kube ngumuntu ongazange afunyane enetyala ene-record phansi komthetho noma ngaphansi komthetho osebenza ezamapolisa noma phaya emsebenzini ongazange abekwe ityala.
The pre-selection profile continue. Applicants must be in possession of a valid code EB driver's license. Applicants must not be older than 28 years on the day of the respective closing date for the applications, and applicants must be willing to attend and successfully complete the prescribed tactical response teams training cycle.
Uthi ke ocela umsebenzi lona kube ngumuntu onezincwadi zokushayela kwi-code EB i-license yakhe yokushayela yokudriver ukuqhuba inqwela angabi ngaphezulu kweminyaka engu-28 okokuba apha kufanele kube ngumuntu noko semncinci kukhombisa okokuba abe ngumuntu ozimisele okokuba uza kulimela uqeqesho olubekiwe phansi kwe-TRT.
On slide 60 we find the minimum selection criteria, and it consists of an application that must be done, psychometric evaluation, pre-selection fitness evaluation, preparation and conditioning phase, medical examination, and a baseline evaluation.
Kuthi ke xa ese-aplayile lowo muntu kuphinde kujonge ezi zinto kujonga i-application yakhe yenzeke ngendlela efanele yini, kube khona okokuba makajongwe kwasengqondweni nakwasemzimbeni ukuphila kwakhe, alungiselelwe izimo azosebenza phansi kwalo, akwazi ukuthi ayogqitha naphaya kogqirha bambone ukuba ngumuntu ophile kahle.
On average, the selection success rate is as follows. Out of 550 applicants, only 330 fits the psychometric profile. From the 330 members, only 120 conformed to the minimum fitness standards for the TRT, and only 35 members completed the preparation and conditioning phase. Eventually, only 25 members qualified to be continuing with the training cycle for TRT, and this refers to the previous cycle.
Uthi ke kwixesha eligqithileyo kubaceli bomsebenzi abangu 550 kwatholakala ukuba abaphile ngokupheleleyo apha ezingqondweni abangathathwa abangu 330, kwathi kwabo xa sekuyiwa ngokuphila komzimba kwasala 120, kwathi ke kule 120 xa besesiwa kwaba yi-25 ekugqibeleni kwathathwa 25 kuphela.
The pre-selection for TRT members consists of a voluntary application process, psychometric evaluation since April 2011, a fitness evaluation, and a medical examination.
Izindlela ke abafanele ukuba bagqitha kuzo ufanele enze le application, ayokuhlolwa ngokwasengqondweni April 2011, ayohlolwa kokuba uphile kakuhle emzimbeni, kube certificate esayosifumana kugqirha.
On slide 62, the baseline evaluation consists of a fitness and shooting test as indicated in this slide.
Apha ke kuthi emva koko abesethathwa amikiswa phaya ekudubuleni kuyojonga okokuba ungumuntu okwazi ukudubula kanjani, umzimba wakhe uyilungele na lento, nokuthi yena ungumuntu okwazi ukubamba ngendlela efaneleyo umpu nokuma ngezindlela ezifaneleyo.
Members that do not conform to this standards will not be taken for TRT training.
Bathi ke xa umuntu engakwazi angenazo ezi zinto zifuneka apha akanawuthathwa amikiswe kwi-training ye-TRT.
Slide 63, the training curriculum for the TRT is 6 weeks long and consists of a weapons phase of 2 weeks, an urban phase of 2 weeks, and a rural phase of 2 weeks.
Apha ke bathi xa sebethethwe aba bamapolisa e-TRT athunyelwe okokuba yofundiswa iviki ezingu-6. Zimbini fundiswa kusebenziso lwemipu, kuthi kwezimbili afundiswa okokuba kusetshenzwa kanjani phakathi kwasemadolobheni. Kuthi ke okwesithathu athathe amikise kwizindawo ezingaphandle ayofundiswa ukuba phaya imeko zinjani, usebenza phansi kwemeko ezinjani.
The TRT weapons phase duration is presented over 2 weeks and consists of training in two weapons. There's R5 assault rifle as a primary firearm and the 9mm pistol as a secondary firearm.
Apha ke uqeqesho phansi kokusetshenziswa lezixhobo ezidubulayo imipu uthatha iveki ezimbini. Iveki kwiveki ezimbili ufundiswa usebenziso lwe-R5 njengesixhobo azawuhlala asiphethe kuyena, abese setshenziswa njenge-9mm akuzoba sixhobo sakhe sesibili azawunikezwa sona.
Brigadier, there is going to be evidence of the use of an R1. Where does that fit?
The R1, though it's not presented in TRT, is part of the police standard weapons plan, so that weapon is in circulation and members can opt to utilize that. The principles of R5 and R1 rifle is the same.
Ubuza ngumhlekazi wesiminya uba khona ubungqina apha kwasetshenziswa le mipu ebizwa ngoba yi-R1. Injani ke yona? Uthi R1 zisekhona apha emapoliseni, usebenziso lwazo noqeqesho liyafana nezi kubizwa ukuba zi-R5.
The subject matter that is presented includes assembling, stripping, basic characteristics and safety measures of each firearm, immediate action drills and range commands, and is assessed through a tactical shooting assessment.
Apha ke kufundisweni kwezixhobo kuye kufundiswe ukusihlanganisa nokusohlukanisa, so kuba uyakwazi na ukuba asohlukanisa phinda sihlanganise ngexesha elithize, nokuthi xa kukhona imeko ethize ukwazi basesimeni sokulawula ngexesha elingakanani.
The TRT urban phase is presented over 2 weeks and contains the following learning areas. Chapter 1, psychological preparation and the OODA loop, legal framework, tactical color codes and tactical communications, team movement, target and tactical approach on food techniques and vehicle techniques, and Chapter 4, penetration techniques for teams.
Apha ke xa befundiswa ngokuthi apha emadolobheni senza kanjani kuye kujongwe okokuba unako na okokuba acinge ngendlela efaneleyo imithetho efanele ukuyisebenzisa necodes ezithize ezisebenza ngemibala uyaziqonda na uyakwazi ukuthi ahambe nelo qela akhethelwe kulona uyakwazi yini ukuthi ngezixa kuhanjwa ngezinyawo kuhanjwa kanjani usebenziso lwemoto nenqwela zamapolisa nokungenela phakathi kweteam lena akhethelwe kuyo.
And what is the OODA loop, OODA, Brigadier?
The OODA loop is a tactical decision-making process, and the acronym stands for Orientation, Observe, Decision, Action. As soon as the member completes that, he starts again with orientate himself, observe, and take a decision and his action.
Apha kubhalwe kukho into ethiwa yi-OODA loop bebuza uba i-OODA loop le ichaza ukuthini uthi ulusebenziso lemthetho kusebenzisa kwale mbala enikaziwe nokuthi ushesha kangakanani ukuba akwazi ukuchela eso simo akuso.
On slide 66 we continue with the urban phase. Chapter 5, scaling techniques. Chapter 6, fast roping helicopter insertion. Chapter 7, mechanical breaching techniques. And Chapter 8, pyrotechnical age, which includes stun grenades, smoke grenades, and M26 practice grenades.
Kubekeke ngokufundiswa apha okokuba kusetshenzwa kanjani emadolobheni. Fundiswa izindlela ezithize zokwenqa nezokubuyela. Kusebenziswa kwe-rope phaya kwi-helicopter ukuba zifakwa phina kanjani. Izindlela ezithize ezisetshenziswayo nokusetshenziswa kwe-stun grenade ne-smoke grenades ne-M26 practice grenades ezisetshenziswa phaya.
Slide 67 focus on the rural phase. The TRT rural phase is presented over 2 weeks and contains the following learning areas.
Apha ke sesithetha ngokufundiswa uqeqesho olalinikezayo ukuba xa engaphandle kwamadolobhu phaya ezindaweni zangaphandle kusetshenzwa ngoluphi uhlobo.
Kit preparation, temporary bases, map reading, global positioning system, patrol formations, waylays to intercept approaching suspects, escape and evasion, follow-up operations, and fit, fire and movement.
Ufundiswa apha okokuba impahla aza kuyidinga ibekwa kanjani ngokulunga. Xa ethunyelwe kwibase ezingaphandle apho bazolinda khona isikhashana. Afundiswe nokufunda imap yendawo nokokuba leyo ndawo ifanele ibe kanjani. Afundiswe indlela zokupatrola nendawo zokuthi bakwazi ukuzimela xa kukho abantu abakhokelwayo apho bazimele bangazivezi izindlela zokubaleka xa isimo simanzonzo izindlela zokulandela abo bafuneka khona nezemililo nezinye.
Slide 68. The TRT training programs are benchmarked against the Special Task Force training, who is a custodian of tactical training. The Special Task Force benchmarked their training internationally, and those techniques and knowledge is filtered down through the different operational levels to the TRT. This creates a golden thread with regard to techniques from low-risk operation units through to high-risk specialized units.
Uthi ke le ndlela yokufundisa amapolisa lawa TRT ibekwe phezu kwendlela okufundiswa ngayo aba be-Special Task Force. Indlela le ye-Special Task Force ke zindlela zokufundisa nokuqeqesha ezathathwa kumazwe angaphesheya zifundiswa aba be-Special Task Force zehlele phaya kwi-TRT okokuba kufundiswe abo baseza apha phezulu.
Maintenance training of the TRT consists of refresher training and tactical simulations in line with operational standards for the TRT. This is done at unit level and on national level.
Apha ke kuye kuthi xa sebefundisiwe baphinde baphindiselwe futhi ngemaxesha athize bayophekwa kabusha bafundiswe kwenziwa apha kwezindawo apho bakuzona bathunyelwe nakwezinye izindawo apho bayofundiswa khona ngabusha.
Shall we now deal with the National Intervention Unit on slide 71?
Siza ngoku ku-NIU, National Intervention Unit.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The establishment of the National Intervention Unit is founded in the Visual Instruction, Establishment and Functioning of National Intervention Units dated 20 January 2010.
Apha ke i-National Intervention Unit iye yaqanjwa yabekwa ngaphansi kwaloko kusuka ngomhla ka-20 January kunyaka ka-2010.
The National Intervention Unit was officially established in 2000 when a need arose to have a national capacity within the Republic to address medium risk and high risk policing duties, specifically at incidents of violence when normal policing was deemed inadequate.
Uthi kwenziwa okokuba kube khona oluphiko lamapolisa ngesidingo esasikhona kulowo nyaka ukuze bakwazi ukujongana nezimo ezingahle zivele ngamaxesha athize.
The goal of the NIU is to stabilize volatile situations by combating serious and violent crimes, the policing of high-risk public violence, rendering specialized operational support to provinces, units and divisions. 71.
Uthi ukuvezwa kwalamapolisa ngonyaka ka-2010 kwaba sisidingo esenziwa okokuba makwenziwe oluphiko lamapolisa azokwazi ukuba asheshe afike kwezindawo ezithize adinga kuzona phansi kwemeko ezikhona kulowo ndawo.
The purpose of the National Intervention Unit is to render a specialized operational support function focused on planned, intelligence-driven and targeted deployments to address specific incidents of crime and public violence and not the day-to-day crowd management operations.
Aba ke kakuwona amapolisa aye abekelwa nje okokuba akwazi ukulawula imihla nemihla uba nolawulo lwabantu babekelwe indawo ezispecial ukuba xa kukho indawo ethize ebeyiplaniwe apho kuye kwacingelwa khona baye bathunyelwe apho bayojongana naleso simo ngelo xesha.
The development of the National Intervention Unit is managed in terms of the divisional instruction, and there's a typing error. It says February, it must be January, 20 January 2010, as in the previous slide.
Aba ke ba yaqanjwa lento kokuba ibe khona iqale ukusebenza ngaphansi komthetho we-National Units owenziwe mhla ka-20 kuFebruary ngo-2010.
The National Intervention Unit will be activated through its various unit commanders for day-to-day operational support.
Ilawulwa ke ngabayiphethe ii-commander zabo kuye ngaleyo mini naleyo mini xa kudingeka.
The Divisional Commissioner of Operational Response Services will prioritize and approve the deployment of the unit to other provinces, and the National Commissioner can, however, deploy the NIU to any province should she so desire.
Ababizwa ngo-Divisional Commissioner banegunya lokokuba bakwazi ukuthumela abo bantu apho kudingeka khona kwenye nenye iprovince. Kodwa ke u-National Commissioner unegunya lokuba aba bantu angathumela noma kuphi nakuphi kulizwe lonke xa kudingeka.
All requests for assistance must be submitted to the Divisional Commissioner of Operational Response Services for approval.
Xa kukho isicelo sokuba kuthunyelwe la madoda kuye kuthunyelwe eso sicelo ku-Divisional Commissioner we-Operational Response Services.
In provinces where the National Intervention Units are stationed, the provincial head of Operational Response Services will be responsible for maintaining the NIU capacity in the province.
Kwi-provinces ke apho bekhona ababe National Intervention Unit baye baphathwe yinhloko ye-Operational Response kube ngiyo ejonga okokuba aba bantu bahlala bezilungiselele ngawo onke amaxesha.
The NIU is geographically placed as follows. Gauteng, in Pretoria they have an office, KwaZulu-Natal, Durban, Western Cape in Cape Town, and in Eastern Cape in Tata.
Lawa mapolisa ke NIU akwezindawo ezine kwi-province ezine apha eMzantsi. Kukho abase-Gauteng base-Pretoria, KwaZulu-Natal baseThekwini, eWestern Cape base-Cape Town, Eastern Cape base-Mthatha.
Recruitment and selection of NIU members. The prerequisite for applicants to join the NIU is Applicants must have successfully completed the SAPS basic police training, must have a minimum of 2 years operational experience at station or unit level, not being found guilty during a departmental criminal hearing, not have a criminal record, not have a pending case, departmental or criminal, and must be physically and mentally fit.
Apha ke kungena kanjani kulambutho walama police? Kufuneka ke umuntu apho osegqibe ukutraina uqeqesho lamapolisa lwasekuqaleni kube ngumuntu oseneminyaka emibili esebenza eziteshini ekanene kwi-unit ethize, kungabi ngumuntu okwafunyana enetyala phaya emsebenzini noma ngaphandle, kungabi ngumuntu onerecord, kungabi ngumuntu onetyala elisaphandwayo maqondana naye, kube ngumuntu ophilile engqondweni nasemzimbeni ukuze akwazi ukukhethela koluphiko lamapolisa.
Slide 75, the national...
Move to slide 75. Can we go back to slide 72 for a moment? The first line reads, the NIU will be activated through its various units, full stop, commanders for day-to-day operational support. There appears to be something wrong there. I suspect there should be an apostrophe after the S in units, and the full stop shouldn't be there, but there's clearly something wrong. What should it be?
The full stop should not be there at all. It should be unit commanders.
And there should be apostrophe after the S at the end of units.
No, it should read the NIU will be activated through its various unit commanders.
Unit. Thank you.
Apha kulungiswa umgcinisihlalo ubona kokuba kukho into engalunganga phaya endaweni yokuthi kuthiwe ama-NIU azawubizwa ngokuthi kuthethwe ne-unit commanders zabo.
On slide 75, we look at the NIU training is conducted at national level, and the training cycle is as follows. Phase 1 is the pre-selection of 4 days, and Phase 2 preparation and conditioning phase of 1 week. Selection training itself is 18 weeks long and is broken into 3 phases, namely weapons, urban and a rural phase of 6 weeks each.
Apha ke kuthethwa ngoqeqesho lamapolisa e-National Intervention Unit. Kuthatha insuku ezine okokuba umuntu akwazi ukuhlaziya ajonge kakuhle okuba kufanele na. Bese ke kuthi iveki eyodwa afakwe kuqeqesho olufanele oluzawuthatha iveki ezingu-18 lohlukanise kathathu, kuthi iveki lokuqala amaviki angu-6 afundiswe ukusetshenziswa kwezixhobo, kuthi ke iveki elandelayo afundiswe ukusebenza phakathi kwamadolobha amakhulu, elokugqibela amaviki angu-6 ayofundiswa ukusebenza ngaphandle kwasemadolobheni.
The purpose of the NIU pre-selection is to select interested candidates who possess certain personal attributes as required by the National Intervention Unit's operational requirements. A 4-day program is facilitated at unit level for plus minus 250 applicants per unit.
Apha ke kuye kwenziwe kanjena. Bathi basebawucelile umsebenzi ukuthi kwabo abakhethiwe ukuba bekhona kuthathwe abangahle babe ngo-250 kwenye nenye unit.
The pre-selection criteria consist of a physical ability assessment and extensive medical evaluation and an individual psychological battery test. It also includes phobia testing, basic shooting skills and endurance capability.
Kuye kujongwe ke apha abantu abaphile kakuhle engqondweni, jongwe abantu abaphile kakuhle emzimbeni, kwenziwe i-tests ezithize ukuba phando kokuba ngabantu abakulungele yini ukusebenza oku. Kube ngabantu abanganako ukoyika izindawo ezivalelekileyo nomuntu onoyoyiko lokungena emanzini nakwezinye izinto ezinjengezo.
On slide 77, we find the preparation and conditioning phase, which is a 4-day program that is facilitated at unit level and is a 69-hour individual endurance program assessing the individual's attributes. It includes effects on the individual during sleep deprivation, effects on the individual due to lack of food, ability to perform optimal under strenuous situations while deprived of sleep and food, ability to perform in a team context, ability to lead a group while under strenuous physical and mental stress, ability to encounter group cohesion while under mental stress, and ability to show initiative.
Apha ke baye bajonge aba bantu banalo na ukhono olulandelayo. Baye banikeze uqeqesho le-hour ezingu-69 emnye nomnye. Apho kuzawujengwa khona okokuba lo muntu lona xa angasetshenziswa endaweni apho angakwazi ukulala khona bajonge uba akunomuntu ohlulwa ngubuthongo na ii-hour ezingu-69. Aphinde asetshenziswe apho imeko kungekho kutya khona babona ukuthi uyakwazi ukusebenza xa engatyanga. Bajonge okokuba lo muntu uyakwazi ukumelana nesifo esimanzonzo ngaphandle kokulala nokudla. Kujonge ukuba lo muntu uyakwazi na ukusebenza phakathi kweqela elithize akhethelwe kulona. Kujonge okokuba lo muntu lona uyakwazi ukuzimelana izimo ezimanzonzo ezingahle zimkhathaze apha engqondweni nokunye okufana noko. Nokuthi lo muntu uyakwazi na okokuba yena akwazi ukuthatha izigqibo ngokwakhe.
The 18-week program is eventually attended by those people that were successful in the pre-selection. In the previous cycle, 48 members of the original 1,000 applicants were successful. The purpose of the 6 weeks weapons phase is to introduce, train and familiarize trainees with operational weapons being used in the NIU environment and to assess candidates to medium risk to high risk, candidates on medium risk to high risk weapon proficiency, accuracy and weapons handling skills.
Apha ke uthi kule 1000 eyayi apply eqala 1000 abafaka izicelo zokungena kula mapolisa kuya kwakhethwa abawulungelela umsebenzi baba ngu48 kuphela. Aba ke bafundiswa ukusebenziswa kwezixhobo eziphansi komlawulo le-NIU kwiimeko ezithize ezohlukile, ezinye imeko ezimanzonzo gqitha apho bafanele batrain bazilungiselele khona.
Phase 2, the 6-week rural phase, teaches the NIU rural techniques and equipment for operational deployment within a medium to high risk rural operational environment, equipping learners with skills to safely and successfully police rural areas.
Bakwazi ke apha ukuba bathathwe bamikiswe kwindawo ezingaphandle kwasemadolobheni bayofundiswa apho ukuba kwindawo enjengaleyo usebenza kanjani, kujongwe imeko ezikhona apho nokuthi loyo akwazi ukuba azilungiselele ukuba akwazi ukusebenza kwindawo ezinjengalezo xa ethunyelwe khona.
Phase 3, the 6-week urban phase, teaches trainees techniques to attend to medium to high risk urban operations with skills to safely and successfully apprehend suspects in an urban environment.
Bese kuthemba koko abesethunyelwa emadolobheni ayofundiswa ngaphansi kwemeko zasemadolobheni ukuba kusetshenziswa eziphi izindlela zokubopha noma zokwazi ukufokisa amatyala abantu abahohela ngamatyala athize phakathi kwezimo zasemadolobheni.
Slide 79. During the weapons phase, trainees are trained and assessed on the following weapons. There are 5 assault rifles, the 9mm pistol, the 9mm submachine gun, the R1 assault rifle, and a 12-gauge muzzler shotgun. Assessments are done on weapon proficiency, accuracy and tactical shooting, physical ability, team, group building exercises, and weapon inspections.
Aba ke izixhobo abafundiswa ukuzisebenzisa zezi ezilandelayo. Bafundiswa ukubasebenzise i-R5 assault rifles, bafundiswe ukusebenzisa ezi 9mm iz88 nawo PX4, bese fundiswa ukusebenzisa ezekuthiwa zi-uzimini nezi ezinkulu. Aphinde afundiswe nokusebenzisa ezekuthiwa zi-R1 rifles ezidubula ngembombulu 762, sebenze no 12 gauge muzzler i-shotgun. Apha ke kujongwa khono lakhe kusebenziseni kwezixhobo nokuthi ukwazi ukudubula kanjani, philile emzimbeni, ungumuntu okwazi ukusebenza phansi kweteam abekele yona nokwazi ukuhlola ezizixhobo anikezwe zona.
Phase 2, the rural phase. The following modules are taught during the 6-week rural phase. Pyrotechnical aids, tactical movement, map reading, global positioning systems, first aid level 3, reconnaissance exercises, patrol formation, cover, concealment and camouflage, helicopter trooping, escape and evasion, observation and reconnaissance, introduction to foreign weapons, obstacles and river crossings.
Apha ke xa eyofundiswa ukusebenza ngaphandle kwasemadolobheni izifundo ayanikezwe zona ilezi ezilandelayo ukuba kuhanjwa kanjani pha uhamba kanjani kufundiswa izimap ukuba ifunda kanjani imap ezinye izindawo ezifundisa ngendawo ezithize azofundiswa zona fundiswe ne-first aid fundiswe nokuthi akwazi ukujongana nesimo kanjani asihlole fundiswe nokupatrola nokwazi ukuvikela nokufihla ngendlela ezithize ze-camouflage apho ungeke ubonakale khona fundiswe nangehelicopter nezindlela zokubaleka nezindlela zokuzimela apho afundiswe nezixhobo ezingekho ezivela kumazwe angaphandle nezindlela zokukwenqa nokukrossa imilambo.
We continue with the rural phase. Rural survival skills are taught, battlecraft, immediate reaction drills, practical high-altitude observation and reconnaissance exercise and assessments, mountain orientation, waylay operations, jungle lanes, follow-up operations, situational assessments and planning, writing and interpreting a rural operational plan, and vehicle shooting exercises. Trainees who are found not yet competent on any of the modules will not progress to the next phase.
Kuthi ke xa besuka apho emadolobheni njengoba benifundile besemikiswa kwizindawo ezingaphandle apho yafundiswa khona ngezindlela zokuphila phaya izindlela ezomlo phaya nokuthi kufanele baphuthume kanjani izinto ezidongwayo ekufanele akwazi ukuzibona fundiswe nokusebenza phaya ezindaweni ezinezintaba nezindlela zokubaleka nezokuzimela apho nezindlela zokuzimela xa bekho umsebenzi owenziwayo izindlela phakathi kwemithi emahlathini izindlela zokulandela abantu abafunekayo nezinye izimo ezithize nokubhala nokwazi ukufunda izindlela ze-operational plans apha kulezo zindawo nokusebenza ngokudubula phakathi nangaphandle kwezimoto kuthiwa ke umuntu ongakwazanga ukuba abe neziphumele aphumelele zonke ezi zifundiso akana uqhubekela kukanduva olulandelayo.
Phase 3, the NIU urban phase, slide 82. Trainees are trained and assessed on the following modules: urban approaches by air, foot and vehicle, mechanical breaching, single and multiple entries, passage movements, stair movements, multiple entries, tactical ladder techniques, climbing techniques, urban tactical shooting ranges, legislation, urban obstacle crossings, urban tactical approaches, door penetration.
Abo ke abaphumelele apha bese bayiswa kolunye uqeqesho futhi oselungaphezulu ke ngoku lezi mo zangaphandle kwasemadolobheni apho ufundiswa ngekusebenza phaya xa behamba emoyeni xa behamba ngenqwelo phansi bahamba nangezinyawo izindlela ezithize zokuthi kuvinjwa kanjani abantu abafunekayo ezinye izindlela zokuba uqitha kanjani kwizimo ezithize fundiswa ngezindlela zokuphakama ezohlukile izindlela zokukhuphuka indawo ezinjengezo zasemaphandleni usetshenziswa kwezixhobo ekuzivikeleni ezingaphansi komthetho usection 49 nokuthi ezinye izinto zinqandwa zivikelwa ngoluphi uhlobo nokungenwa nokwephula kweminyango.
The urban phase continue on slide 83. Interlinking doors are taught, button hook penetrations, high-low penetrations, high-low swivel penetrations, preparation and execution of operational orders, grounded aircraft interceptions, biological gas mask penetrations, urban vehicle operations, urban sniper tactical assistance operations, stun penetrations, high-angle rope techniques, urban tactical holding areas, urban assessment and planning, injured operators procedures. The trainees who are found to be not yet competent in any of the modules will be returned to their original stations and not continue.
Apha ke bese kuthathwa esinye istep futhi apho bayofundiswa khona ngezinye izinto ke ezifundiswa maqondana neminyango ethize phaya kokuba igqithwa kanjani nefestili nokuba kungenwa kanjani kwezo zindawo.
And for the
commanders of these units.
The NIU Commanders Training. This training is presented to NIU commanders, and all NIU unit commanders and operational commanders have to attend this course. The National Intervention Units Commanders Training Program focuses on operational planning and management of medium to high-risk operations.
Kuthi ke xa kugqitha apho bese kubizwa iikomanda zabo aba bantu zinikiswa kolunye uqeqesho olulandelayo. Zonke iikomanda ze-units ziye zifundiswe ke izindlela zokuplana kokuba xa kusetyenzwa kwindawo ethize kwenziwa ntoni nantoni, bese kubhekwa nokuwazi ukulawula kwabo kwizimo ezithize ngokwahlukana kwazo.
In-service and maintenance training is conducted at NIU units, and the purpose is to ensure that operational members within the NIU maintain skill levels and continuously develop members on new and acquired skills. Each member is subjected to 1 week of in-service training per month, during which tactical skills are maintained, new equipment and techniques is introduced, and remedial training is conducted if necessary.
Apha ke baye bafundiswe khona emsebenzini ebizwa ngokuthiwa i-in-service training, bafundiswa basemsebenzini phaya. Injongo yalokho kokuba la madoda nomama bakwazi okokuba bazilungele ezi zimo ezohlukile. Kuthi enye nenye iplatoon ephaya ifundiswa iviki elilodwa, kwenye nenye inyanga izindlela zokusebenza nezinto ezidingekayo ukuba azazi, nokufundiswa kwezixhobo ezintsha ezisanda ufika, nokufundiswa kwezindlela ezintsha zokwenza imisebenzi nokunye oyikuye kudingeke kumaqela ohlukile.
Shall we now deal with the special task force and go to slide number 87?
Mr. Chair, the aim of the special task force, the primary aim of the unit is as per section 2181M of the Constitution, namely the handling of quote-unquote high-risk operations which require specialized skills.
Apha ke sithetha nge-special task force. Injongo yokuba kube khona la mapolisa e-special task force ikhonye phansi ko-section 218(1) womgaqo-seko wase-South Africa ngo-1996, apho kuthiwa khona kufanele kube khona abantu ababekwa balungile ngawo onke amaxesha okokuba xa kukho izimo ezithize ezimaxongo bakwazi ukuba bajongane nazo.
The mission of the special task force of the South African Police Service is to provide a specialized and impartial service to the community by handling high-risk operations that fall beyond the scope of classic policing in a professional and responsible manner.
Injongo ke yokuthi kude kube khona la mapolisa e-special task force apha e-South Africa yenzele okokuba bakwazi ukuthi bajongane nezimo ezimaxongo ezingahle zivele phakathi kumphakathi wase Mzantsi Afrika, bakwazi ukuyimela loo nto ngendlela enesizotha nezawukhombisa ukuba banakekele.
On slide 89, the mission statement of the Special Task Force is to strive to be the model of excellence for tactical paramilitary policing operations in dealing with hostage situations, acts of terror, sabotage, sieges, other high-risk threats. In doing so, the unit will uphold the core values of integrity and fidelity while providing an impartial and professional service to the South African citizens and the international community.
Apha ke kuthiwa injongo yokuba kube khona la mapolisa okokuba kube khona amapolisa athize azokwenza lo msebenzi ngenhlonipho nangendlela ebonakalisa ulwazi, apho kuba nje kwavalelwa khona abantu, apho khona izenzo zobundlobongela, apho kukhokiswa khona, apho kwenziwa khona izindawo zoko sabotage, apho kubanjwe khona abantu nezinye izimeko izimo ezibakhona ukuze bakwazi ukuthi umphakathi wase-South Africa nabanye bakumazwe abangaphesheya bakwazi ukuba nokhuseleko.
The category of other high-risk threats would include matters such as which?
It can be any situation, even a sporting event where the risk is escalated through criminal activities.
Ubuzwa bangabizwa noma kuphina nasendaweni zemidlalo apho khona izimo ezithize ezimaxongo bangabizwa baye bayosebenza.
In addition to the Special Task Force mission statement, the Special Task Force will perform its functions with courage and tenacity, continually evolving to effectively counter criminal and terrorist acts and trends. The Special Task Force will only recruit persons conforming to the exceptional attributes and standards required by the unit. The Special Task Force will place high value on their personnel and will continue to offer a challenging, rewarding and result-oriented environment, always recognizing Special Task Force members' contributions. The emphasis will be to continually develop personnel within the dynamic environment by using innovative techniques, tactics and technologies to enhance the unit's capability, enable it to be placed as one of the elite tactical assault policing units in the world.
Uthi ke apha enye injongo kokuba kube khona lamapolisa ukukhuthaza ukusebenzela isizwe ngendlela efanele kwizenzo zobugogisi zingabi khona kube khona abantu aba nekhono abazokwazi nokwenza lo msebenzi ngendlela efaneleyo nokuthi kujongwe imeko zabahlali okokuba ngawo onke amaxesha kukho ukuphepha apha ezweni ngokuba khona kwalamapolisa e-technical force.
Slide 91. The mandate of the Special Task Force is the handling of high-risk operations within the SAPS on behalf of other security services within South Africa in terms of Section 1991 of the Constitution of South Africa, as well as foreign security agencies abroad.
Ukuba khona kwalamapolisa kubekwe ngaphansi kwezimo ezimaxongo kokuba bakwazi usebenza phansi kombutho wamapolisa ase SAPS SAPS ngokuya ngokubeka komgaqo-siseko weli lizwe ukuze kuvikele ababangaphakathi nabangaphandle.
The functions within the mandate of the Special Task Force is hostage release operations on land, sea or air transportation, specialized operational assistance in counteracting terrorism, operational assistance within the SAPS for criminal-related high-risk operations where specialized skills and equipment are required, specialized assistance for the protection of high-profile VIPs, specialized search, rescue and recovery assistance, and the performance of any other specialized duties assigned by the National Commissioner of the South African Police Service.
Omnye yemsebenzi yayo kokuba bakwazi ukuthi xa kuthethwe abantu babanjwa bavalela njengasezikepeni nasezi-aeroplanini nakwezinye izindawo bakwazi ukuba baphuthume apho bakwazi ukuyokhulula abo bantu bakwazi nokujongana nezinye izimo ezimanzonzo zokugrogrisa bakwazi ukuthi bajongane nezinye izindlela zophulaphula umthetho nokuthi bakwazi ukukhusela aba ekuthiwa ngama-VIPs abantu ababaluleke gqitha abaphezulu bakwazi ukungena baseshe bafumane impahla apho kukhona izenzo zolwaphula umthetho apho amanye izinhlaka zamapolisa e-SAPS zingakwazi ukufika khona xa becelwa ku-National Commissioner ka-SAPS.
The Special Task Force selection process is a multifaceted process where candidates with prescribed attributes are selected to participate on the Special Task Force training cycle. The restrictions initially start in the recruiting drive, dictating who may apply, to include a target group who can be molded and contribute back to the unit, who possesses the embedded knowledge of and qualifications of a police official, which is a necessary foundation prerequisite to perform the functions of the Special Task Force.
Apha ke njengoba imisebenzi yabo iya ngohluka-hluka kuye kujonge abo bantu abazawuthathwa apha okokuba banazo na ezi zinto ezifunekayo kwi-STF kuye kujongwe xa kurecruitwa phaya kujongwe okuba lo muntu aplayayo ufanele yini ukungena kolu hlaka lamapolisa unalo yini ulwazi olufunekayo unazo izifundo ezifanele lo msebenzi aza kuwenza apha kwi-STF.
We continue slide 94, members who wish to pursue a career in a special task force will need to comply with the following criteria.
Amalungu ke afuna ukungena apha kufanele abe nezi zinto zilandelayo.
Members must be a full-time functional member of the South African Police Service Act, appointed in terms of the South African Police Service Act, and have completed the police basic training course.
Kuthiwa ke ozongena apha kufanele kube ngumuntu oyipolisa ngokugcwele, umuntu oye wafumana uqeqesho lwamapolisa ngaphansi komthetho wamapolisa ka-1995.
The member must be a non-commissioned officer holding the rank of constable, sergeant or warrant officer.
Apha ke kuye kuthathe abantu abangakafiki kwiirank eziphakeme. Kuthatha apha ukusuka ku-constable kuya ku-sergeant kude kufike ku-warrant officer.
And not be older than 32 years of age.
Akufuneki ke nomuntu osesondela apha ngasemaxhegweni osengaphezu ka-32.
Such a person must be prepared to undergo the special task force selection process in order to gain entry to the special task force training course.
Kube ngumuntu ozimisele ukuthi athunyelwe ayofumana uqeqesho olufanele phansi komthetho ade abe lilunga le-STF.
The candidate must not suffer.
Sorry, before you carry on, what is fussbait? This STF selection process includes provincial pre-selection, preparation and conditioning phase, and fussbait.
Chairperson, fussbait is Afrikaans term referring to bite on, and it is what it is, they do the endurance testing and the phobia testing over a period of 3 days, where there's sleep deprivation and no food, and they put the person under severe stress to see who makes it.
Apha kukhona igama eliyasetshenziswa kokuba lo muntu lona uye afakwe kolu qeqesho olubizwa ngokuba yi-fussbait. Ngoku i-fussbait ke i-Afrikaans obebuza umgcinihlalo bayichaza ntoni. Uthi kwi-fussbait ke kuye kuthiwe lo muntu xa esethethwe amikiswe kwindawo apho engenawunikwa kona kutya izinsuku ezithize aphiliswe phansi kwemeko enzima babone uba uyakwazi ukumelana naleyo meko na. Iyona ke i-fussbait le.
Bullet 2 on slide 95, the candidate must not suffer from any phobias, for instance, claustrophobia, water phobia, fear of heights, and etc. Specific exercises are scheduled during the selection process, which will expose persons with such phobias.
Apho ke kuye kujongwe kokuba lo muntu uthathwayo akayena umuntu onoloyiko lezindawo ezivalelekile, umuntu onoloyiko lokungena emanzini, umuntu onoloyiko lokugibela izintaba abephezulu nezinye into ezifana nezo.
Finally, members must be prepared to undergo the Special Task Force training course for 11 months, and if successful, for a further 5 months on the advanced training cycle.
Apha ke ilungu lithi xa seligqibe konke oku lithunyelwe liyoqeqeshwa izinyanga ezingu-11 kuthi emva koko liphinde lithunyele ezinye izinyanga ezingu-5 apho seliyofumana uqeqesho kwelinye izinga eliphezulu.
Slide 96, the Special Task Force qualification consists of the following: selection of 5 weeks, provincial selection, prep, and the preparation and conditioning phase. The fussbait endurance testing. Then the Special Task Force training cycle of 16 months consists of medic level 3, weapons phase, basic rural phase, urban phase, basic parachuting phase, advanced rural phase, advanced driving phase, and hostage release phase, which is followed by the advanced training, which consists of waterborne course, explosive breaching course, VIP protection course, and advanced parachuting course.
Lithi ke saliyawufumana izincwadi zokokuba hayi seliwulungele ngoku lo msebenzi elipolisa elikwi-STF ligqibe eziviki ezinhlanu lilungiselwa yonke lento ligqibe naphaya ekuphiliseni ngaphandle kokutya nangaphandle kokulala bese lithunyelwa ke izinyanga ezingu-16 liyokwenziswa hlolwe ngokomzimba ngokwempilo ngokwengqondo kusebenza kwezixhobo thunyelwe ezindaweni zangaphandle kwasemadropini nasemadropini fundiswe nokuqabela iparachute ayosebenza ezindaweni ezingaphandle kwasemadropini qhuba inqwelo nokukhusela kwabantu ababanjiweyo ayofakwa napha emanzini kubonakala uba ngumuntu oyika amanzi apha ezixhobeni okokuba into ezidubulayo uyakwazi na ukuzisebenzisa nokukhusela ama-VIP abantu ababalulekeleyo nokusebenzisa iparachute ngendlela efanele.
The following slides, Brigadier, are just an amplification of what you have said. Shall we go and proceed to slide number 100?
The legacy of the Special Task Force. Selection courses have, since the unit's inception, been the sole source of operational manpower. To date, 32 selection courses have been held, with over 10,000 candidates applying, of which 484 have completed the course successfully, an average of 5% pass rate to date.
Kude kube namhlanje ke lokho yasungulwa yavezwa le force ekuthiwa i-special task force kuye kwabanjwa uhlungo kayi-32 kukhethwa abantu mahlande angu-32 apho kwaba khona abantu babefake izicelo zomsebenzi abangaphezu kwamawaka alishumi 10,000 kutheke kwaba bantu aba-aplayile kwakhethwa abangu-484 asebeyigcibile le course kude kube namhlanje okukhombisa okokuba ungaphansi kwe-5% ukuphasa kwabo.
And that is your evidence, Brigadier?
That is correct.
Evidence in chief, Brigadier. Anyone got any cross-examination? Mr. Berger?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Brigadier, you are in charge of the training, as you've explained to us, but I take it that you're very interested to see how that training is carried out in practical situations.
That's correct, yes.
Brigadier nguyeke ophethe phaya kule ndawo yoqeqesho apha baqeqesho khona ababantu uyathanda kokuba xa sabaqeqeshile abantu abone kokuba imisebenzi yakhe iyimpumelelo na apha ngaphandle.
And what happened between the 9th and the 16th of August of this year at Marikana was a major incident to test the ability of the training of the SAPS to stand up in real life.
I guess so, yes.
Uthi uyavumelana ke nokuthi izehlakalo zomhla ka-9 kude kube mhla ka-16 ku-August kulonyaka lona zizinto ezibaluleke gqitha ukubona okokuba lolu qeqesha linika aba bantu linempumelelo na.
And may we accept that whenever such a rare occasion came about, the SAPS, and you in particular, would consider whether the training you've given to the members of the SAPS, whether that was sufficient, and consider how that stood up in the event under consideration?
Yes.
Uthi ke xa kuvela izihlakalo ezinjengezi kulapho babona khona okokuba qeqesho olubanika aba bantu lanele nako ukanene kukhona ekuthize ekufanele bakwenze noma bangakwenzanga.
What did that evaluation yield?
I cannot say that there has been a clear evaluation done yet. I was not present at the event, and I had not insight to what exactly transpired, whether members utilized the training that was prescribed to them or given to them, or whether they did not do that. And I think this commission can allude to that later on for us.
Uthi ke apha usizo ubuza okokuba ngoku kwaba sifundo sini asifumana kwezehlakalo ababantu bakhe baye basebenza ngemfanelo njengoba bebafundisiwe. Uthi Brigadier wayengekho apho kude kube namhlanje benzanga uphando lokubona kodwa uyathemba okokuba izinqumo negqibo zekomishini lena ziza kuba lusizo kubo.
You know that your training methods were dissected over a 9-day period at Potchefstroom after the Marikana event. You know about that?
I was not present at that.
I'm not asking you whether you were present.
No, I was not aware of that.
Akanalo ulwazi lokuba emva kokuba kwenzeke lento kwaba khona indibano phaya ePotchefstroom yezinsuku ezingu-9 uthi bengekho apho benganalwazi.
Brigadier, is your evidence that you had the training of the SAPS, but that you weren't aware that there was a post-mortem done over a 9-day period at Potchefstroom by the top brass of the police to decide what had gone wrong at Marikana?
As I said, myself from coordinating the tactical training and from our division side, we were not involved, and I was not aware that there was such a meeting.
Ubuzo kokuba nje ngomuntu ophethe ke uqeqesho lwababantu Brigadier usho kokuba ubongenalwazi kokuba emva kwesehlakalo esaseMarikana kuye kwaba khona inhlangano apho kuye kwajongwa khona uba nisebenze ngendlela na uthi cha bendingazi mina andinalo ulwazi lalo.
Did you personally consider the Marikana incident from the 9th to the 16th from the perspective of the training of the SAPS after you've heard of the incident and you watched the television and you read the newspapers?
I saw what happened on television only. And taking that into consideration, I have to measure that up to against the training that was provided. I don't think that it will be a fair conclusion or for me to make, seeing only what was portrayed on the television. And I do not want to speculate on that.
Into endazibona ke mina zazivezwa ko nomathotholo apha andikwazi ukuba ndingenza isigqibo ngento endiyibone phaya kunomathotholo ndindodwa.
Can I ask you on Exhibit Q? There is a slide 4. No, I'm sorry, it's slide 12 I wanted to ask you about, Brigadier. You have in slide 12 the learning areas of the BTLP, and you've dealt with some of them in detail, but the crime investigation section you didn't address in your evidence. Can I ask you a few questions on that?
I can just say to you, I do not have knowledge of the exact content of the learning areas. As I said earlier, this presentation was compiled by the different areas of responsibility. The information I provided was provided by the specialists in the environment, and if we want to interrogate the program itself, I would propose that we call a specialist on the basic police training program.
No, Brigadier, bear with me. You told us about this program of yours, and I'd like to ask you some questions. Perhaps you can help us. You're a very senior official in the police, and I want to discuss a moment with you crime investigation. We've heard evidence, or the Commission has heard evidence, that very shortly after the shooting took place, both at the first scene, which we called Scene 1, and at the second scene, Scene 2, the weapons carried by the strikers were removed and put all together. What is the crime investigation scene 101 for the police? What does one do if you come to a crime scene and you're a policeman and you have to draw a plan and do a forensic investigation? What do you do with weapons lying around?
As I indicated, I'm not a subject expert on investigation of crime, and I cannot answer you from that perspective. I can only answer as a normal police officer.
Ubuzwa apho kokuba apha kwi-basic training yamapolisa phansi phaya anibafundisi na kokuba indawo apho kwenzeke khona izehlakalo iphathwa ngoluphi uhlobo ngoba kukho ubungqina apha obuthi ezinye zezixhobo zaziphethe ngabacankcalazi zasuswa apho zazikhona. Uthi ubrigadier hayi andingochwepheshe apho ungabuza abaphethe olo qeqesho.
For the record, Chair, we can offer the trainer specific to that discipline as a witness.
Uthi umhlekazi Siminya sisa kumbiza lo ofundisa apho azobala ingqina apha.
Chair, I'm quite happy to speak to a brigadier.
Hayi ndivuyela ukuthetha nebrigadier ke mna.
Brigadier, Colonel Botha told us that every police officer knows that if he or she approaches a crime scene, that you preserve the crime scene. Would that be trite? Would that be simple? Would that be standard?
From my personal experience, I would say yes.
Uthi gqwetha kuye ubrigadier unantsika ulieutenant Botha wasixela okokuba neliphi ipolisa liyazo okokuba apho kwenzeke khona izohlakalo leyo ndawo kufanele ihlale ikhuselwe ingonakaliswa uvumelana naye apho uthi ewe.
We will have to make submissions at the end of this section of the inquiry as to why that procedure does not appear to have been followed at scene 1 and scene 2 at Marikana. Can I ask you as a brigadier, would you know what the answer to that riddle is? Would you guess what the answer to that is? Why those crime scenes, and what must be one of the major tragedies in this country, why those scenes were not preserved?
Chair, again, we may have to have the witness understand the entire evidence relating to how that scene was managed to offer a guess as he's being invited to do.
Uthi Mhlekazi Siminya apha ubengeyena umuntu obephenya lenhlekele lena ngoku akakwazi ukuthi angaphendula leyo mbuzo eyenzeka kwinto angekho xa ebuzwa okokuba xa sithi lenhlekele yokuqala neyesibili yonakaliswa ngabomu phaya nizawuthini nini.
Mr. Berger, unless this is an exceptional circumstance, for example, where one is testing the credibility of a witness, one doesn't normally ask witnesses to guess on matters in respect to which they have no personal knowledge. If you have a particular focused reason for asking the question, I'll allow it, but I don't think it's helpful just to ask someone to guess about matters which he has no personal knowledge, unless there's a special reason for it.
Umgcini sihlalo uthi ke akuyona nokwinto elungile okokuba ingqina elijengele libuze okokuba ezakho ingqondo zithini ubuza ucinga kanjani ngaphansi kwale meko makubuzwe elo ngqina elaziyo.
No, Chair, I won't proceed. If the Brigadier is not in a position to answer that question, it makes my discomfort in being unable to make submissions to understand it perhaps so much more understandable.
Mr. Berger, we've been told that an expert on the matter will be called, so you'll get the opportunity to ask questions and therefore to make submissions at the end of this phase, as I understand what Mr. Semenya says. But anyway, let's carry on for the moment.
I don't have any further questions of the Brigadier. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Mr. Tip.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Brigadier, the events of 9 to 16, particularly 16 August 2012 at Marikana, were very traumatic for the entire country, were they not?
Yes.
Uyavuma okokuba izehlakalo zomhla ka-16 August kulo nyaka lona sisehlakalo esizange side sibe khona apha eMzantsi. Sisehlakalo esimasikizi gqitha.
As was put to you by Mr. Berger, an occasion for the South African Police Service to examine its performance in the course of those events, quite acutely. Wouldn't that be correct?
Yes.
Uyavumelana nami okokuba esisehlakalo bekufanele senze apha emngqondweni amapolisa okuba azijonge okokuba aye ayisebenza ngcono le ndlela noma akukho ngcono bangabenza na. Ewe.
You were, I should think, aware that a number of specialist units had been deployed there, namely the K9, the TFT, the NIU, and the STF.
Yes.
Ndinalo ulwazi lokokuba kwakulethe onke lama polisa ohlukahlukile o-TRT o STF o K9 nawo onke amanye.
Well, the circumstances of the events on 16 August were essentially familiar to you from what you had read and what you had heard.
Yes, that's correct.
Kwakuzi sehlakalo esingaqhelekanga esesenzeka phaya ngendlela owasifunda ngayo. Ewe.
I should have thought that it would have been very important for you as the head of a specialist training section in the SAPS to discover what those specialist units had encountered and whether their training had properly equipped them for the management of their duties there.
As I indicated earlier, I was not part of a meeting that was held in Potchefstroom. I did not have any insight into that meeting. In our division, I assume that there will be instruction to do that, and especially after the commission is completed.
Ndiyethemba okokuba xa isigqibile le commission ke sizawuthatha izigqibo zayo kube sisifundo kithi xa ebuzwa okokuba awuzange na ube nomdla wokuba uyijongisise lento xa kuyiwa pha ePotchefstroom uyofumana okokuba iyonakala phi na le nto.
Brigadier, it's a bit difficult to accept that that's all that you might have done, namely to wait for this commission to complete its work in some months' time. Was it not something that required you to take some initiative, to be proactive, and to find out for yourself what the performance of your units had been there and whether there were learning experiences to be drawn from them as a matter of some urgency?
As I said earlier, I'm responsible for the coordination of this training. I do not see a basic police officer's training manual on any day because it's not my responsibility. Specialized units, I coordinate the training for them. I'm not on the ground where they are taught each and every day. And as I indicated, I believe that there will be a process initiated by our police structures to dissect and do case studies of the events and the training that was presented.
Ndinethemba lokokuba xa sekugqityiwe apha endisebenza nabo bazawuthatha ke izifundo ekufanele zifunde kwesi sehlakalo. Mna nje ndingumxhumanisi we-training lena ekhona, ndiboni izincwadi ezitreyinwa ngazo mihla yonke le.
Brigadier, I'm not going to dwell on your role, but you've presented here a comprehensive presentation of the training courses that are on offer through the SAPS, and in some detail what the content is and what those units are intended to do.
That is correct, and as I indicated, it was a presentation that was compiled by the specialist, and the specialists are available to be called to testify to the specific techniques and tactics that was utilized in comparison with the training manuals.
Ndikubuza ngoba Brigadier unikeze ingxelo epheleleyo apho kokuba ipolisa litraina kanjani kusuka ekuqaleni kude.
Hello?
In the next few minutes, but if it's a point that you can dispose of before we take the German, then I suggest you carry on.
It might take a few more minutes than those that we've got before one.
Very well.
Mr. Chair.
The Commission will adjourn until 9:30 on Monday.
Izawuphuma ikomishini ngoku side siqale ngo-9:30 9:30 ngomsombuluko. Enkosi.
Colleagues, at 2 o'clock we start our meeting in this very room. Thank you very much.